I get it.
Mbijan raganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol dir fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo nga fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ba. Ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But
don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Hello and welcome to the Brunch on Fatou Live. I am Lamin Cham, welcoming you to our weekly current affairs program. This week, voter registration commenced in the Gambia last week. 1 week on, we will have analysis and observations from who? Well, who else? The stakeholders themselves. We intend, of course, also to have the view of the electoral body, the IEC, and those of civic society organizations who have been following the process through. Now, the week have been busy. Like I said, there have been accusations and counter-accusations, observations and counter-observations as to what has gone wrong or deemed to have gone wrong. That's why I dragged into the studio Dodou Jah. He is deputy spokesman of the former ruling APRC. Seedy NJIE, former National Assembly member and now deputy spokesman for the National People's Party. I also have the Honorable, I mentioned, two former National Assembly members. I have a sitting one in the Honorable Omar Ceesay, National Assembly member for Nyamina West, I believe. East. It was West that had the by-election. And he is from the Gambia Democratic Congress, GDC. Nyawuru Komma is the president of the UDP Youth Wing in KM, as well as a member of the National Youth Executive of the UDP. So, gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Nyawuru?
Yes.
Omar?
Thank you.
Honorable Jah. Now, it's been a week, like I said. I start from you, Honorable Jah. What has been you and your party's observation since the registration exercise commenced last Saturday?
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, for once again having us on the brunch. And we just say greetings to all viewers and lovers of this program. It's been very intensive, I would say, having the opportunity. I would believe on the very first day of registration, where I got mine at the old Senegambia garage in Dipakunda.
Which ward is that?
That is Serekunda West constituency.
The ward I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's called
Dipakunda ward.
Dipakunda ward.
Yeah, it's Dipakunda ward, but old Senegambia garage.
And that is the nearest to your residence.
Yes, because I just live on the highway.
So that means the IEC kept to their words that they want to decentralize it as much as possible, so that you don't have to walk far from your ward.
Exactly.
On that basis, you are satisfied with that?
Yes, of course I am,
okay.
in most cases.
Go
I
on.
went there late afternoon, and I did not have any difficulty in registering. But when I registered, what I observed was occupation was not written or printed out. I spotted it, brought it to their attention, and they have to reprint another card to capture occupation, which also shows that there are some typographical errors or some information not properly inputted. That would go a long way to suggest to the IEC that people who are responsible for entering data, at least they should have basic IT background. That is very important to know how to operate those machines. And again, in the queue, there was a quarrel, a debate, an argument between one man who came with a Gambian birth certificate. Two people, one was a woman, another a man. They said his accent looks like a Senegalese, so he is not a Gambian. I have to intervene and say, no, it's not your name or surname, where you're born or your tribe that makes you a Gambian, but the law makes you a Gambian. People can be born outside the Gambia and they're still Gambians. I believe Gambians must know who is a Gambian. It's very important we sensitize the general public. What the laws typically takes is one of your parents or grandparents must be a Gambian in order for you to qualify to be a Gambian. So where you were born is not actually the essence here. You could be born in the Gambia and still be a foreigner. You could be very fluent in speaking Fula, Mandinka, Wolof and other national languages, and yet still you're a foreigner. So people coming from outside not being able to speak our national language or bearing a name or surname that's not a typical Gambian name, or their accent, does it definitely make them to be foreigners? I think that is very, very important. And again, as observers, I made it known to them that they have no right to stop anybody who comes with a valid Gambian document. You can observe, report the matter to your political party who can take further steps. But this has been happening in various centers. Another center I went to was Talinding North, where I was told that people who come for the attestation form, the IEC official in charge was asking them for documents before he will issue the form. I said no.
Attestation form, that is those who came attestation from El Kalolu, and they wanted the form from IEC to enter it there, or what?
Yes, you pick the form at the IEC registration centers, then you take it to the
Alcalo. Oh,
now,
okay.
Coming to pick the form to go to the Alcalo, he's asking them for documents. So when I went there, I was told.
But then that doesn't make sense, because in the first place, if they had a document, they wouldn't have the need to go to El Calo.
Exactly. That's what I said. I have to call the vice chairperson, Joseph Colley, to intervene. He called the supervisor. The supervisor came, called the guy. They spoke at length, and he drove away. I have to call Joseph Colley. I said, I am still at the center and this issue is not addressed. He said, didn't the supervisor came? I said, yes. He came, they spoke, and he went away. Issues like such, you should make it known publicly. You announce it so that people there would know what the law says. So he has to call him. He came back again. I approached him. I said, excuse me, sir. Are you the one that Joseph Colley called? He said, yes. Are you Dodou Jah? I said, yes, I am Dodou Jah. He says, okay. I even called Mr. Toure. I said, Sanusi Toure? He said, yes. Because we're both at the inter-party committee. He said Sanusi has clarified the issue, which proves that there are even like supervisors and IC officials who don't know what the law says.
But that's IC's problem. They didn't train them.
Of course. He said he consulted. But my observation, what it gave me is some of these temporal staffs hired by the IC are partisan. They belong to a political party, of which they're...
That's serious.
Yes.
They are showing partisanship.
Exactly. Exactly, because sometimes it's like, it would be an advice to the IEC. If Dodou Jah is from Dipakunda, if I am going to be hired by IEC, don't take me to Dipakunda, take me to CRR or North Bank or other places where I will not know people to do them a favor. But if you take me to Dipakunda and there are people I know, I could sympathize with them or even help them, to bypass the protocols.
Where you know and for sure that these IEC officials come from that area where he's operating.
Exactly.
Know about that case?
Yes, that's where I went to interlinking now, because I received the information before I went there, and the communication between him and the supervisor wasn't definitely encouraging. Issues like that, because when I saw he was demonstrating, trying to pinpoint, maybe giving reasons why he was denying them. But the law is the law, and you don't have any prerogative to deny people when the law states otherwise. So people must not take the law into their own hands.
We will come to specific issues that surfaced in Nyamina and many other places to get your perspective on that. But let's move on to Honorable Seedy NJIE of the National People's Party. Seedy, what has been your party and yourself, your observation at where the places you went to or your party must have toured?
Yeah, thank you very much, Lamin. As indicated by Dodou Jah, there are a lot of issues on the ground. Others might think they are minor or not, but they are major issues. For example, the issue of attestations. Even this morning, since morning, I've been engaged on those issues.
Many people believe, even from the onset, that attestation will be a problem.
Yeah, because you know what happened, as Dodou Jah indicated, some of these hired staff of the IEC, and even some staff of the IEC, maybe, anyway, those who are responsible of issuing the voter card, maybe they are either polling clerks or agent or supervisors or whatever, they tend to be partisans or to show their party colors. Because, for example, the reason why people request attestation is because they don't have ID card, they don't have birth certificate or passport. It is ridiculous for one to come to you and request an attestation form, demal isi a birth certificate, and that's what they are doing daily. And even when you confront them, because especially in the rural area, because they think that probably people are not aware enough, or people are ignorant of the law, or maybe themselves are ignorant of the law.
So and then where do you blame for this? Because the IEC had taken these people for a long period of training.
You cannot imagine that you go and request attestation, they'll tell you, give me the manga is a birth certificate or ID card. I said, that's hilarious. If I have ID card, why should I request an attestation? And then the law is not the IEC staff or officials at the voting center. They are not mandated by law to cross-check whether you are a Gambian or not Gambian, or whether you have 18 or not 18. What they need to do is to cross-check the document that you brought. Is the document attested to or confirmed by Alcalo or district chief? Is your birth certificate authentic, or it has some defects, or there are some deletion and there's addition, or there is some interference with the original write-up? Or is the passport also have some defects? So these are the things that they need to look at.
Yeah, but then as Josh said, let me just comment here. If there is a clear-cut case of somebody is well known or generally known to be a foreigner, or perhaps less than 18, because obviously if somebody turn up who everybody knew is less than 18, Even if you come with a diplomatic passport,
you have
to question.
Lamin, the law is the law. It's not maybe the law favors you or favors you for an instant or not. No, the law is meant to regulate society, and the law is for all of us. And its applications, nobody can choose how to apply the law or not, or for whom and when. The law stated clearly that for one to acquire a voter's card, when you turn up, you must produce these 5 things. One of them, not all of them. One, if you have a valid passport, not expired passport. If you have a passport.
No, we know that.
We are talking
about attestation.
I'm coming.
It's clear.
No.
But attestation, tell me now.
Sorry.
If I commit an attestation.
Sorry. Allow me to finish, please.
Yes. I just want to clarify before you can continue.
No. The law. I am telling you, the law that's stated that you must, if you produce birth certificate or passport or ID card or an attestation, that's the law. It's an act of parliament. It's not regulations or policies from IEC. It's an act of parliament. And the law says if a person produces one of these, let me finish. Birth certificate, ID card, passport or attestation, you, the issuing authority, the only thing you could do is to issue them. Then the law provide that party, anybody, any concerned citizen, after the registration, can go to the revising court, can challenge. And party, as per IEC regulations and policies, parties have agents. These are privileges accorded to political parties by the IEC. Now the agent, what they do is to represent their political parties. If they suspect of anybody, they think you are either an underage or you are a non-Gambian. What they could do is to note it down, and at the end of the process, and go to the revising court. The law is very clear. The IEC person, you can reject somebody, you can deny them voter card based on the individual's birth certificates have some defects. There are some deletions and addition. And for example, the date of birth or the name, they scratch the name and put another name. Alteration, Or the passport also, there's some alteration. Then in that case, the IEC...
What about the attestation? Because that's where the problem is.
The attestation is as good and as legal as the birth certificate and the ID card. It's the same. So if the attestation also, for example, there's an alteration. You have Ibrahim Jammeh here, and then everything. But now the man decided to alter it and put something else. It's just like the way you check on the birth certificate.
Somebody who comes, a passport, ID card, or birth certificate holder, you don't forget what the law says about eligibility to be a voter. You have to be 18. Now the birth certificate, ID card, and passport holder is already 18 before he or she turns up at the registration center, because his or her paper would have shown so. But somebody who is attested by an alcalde, who at that time cannot determine his or her age, and just deliberately give a child 18 years who is less than that, how do we solve that from the source?
No, that's problem, Lamin. It's the law.
So we have to just take it.
Can I comment?
And challenge it in court.
Lamin, it's the law. That's what the law said. The law said is passport, ID card, birth certificate, attestation. And the law is saying anybody who come with this document must be issued a voter's card.
Okay,
so when you issue them voter card, and the law is saying anybody who have issues with whether attestation or birth certificate or passport, that you think the person for one reason or the other, one, the person is under 18, or two, the person is not Gambian, then what you do is you go to the court. Now it's not the IEC officials, or it's not party agents' responsibility.
What did your party observe as far as just to make it quick? What has been your misgivings?
Our party observed that some of these IEC are taking the position of a revising court. That when you come, they want to interview you, asking you where you are from, kan mola jur. Sometimes they will tell you go and bring your father's document, and also if you want an attestation, they'll tell you no, go and bring your birth certificate. That's ridiculous. If you don't have document, that the attestation is there once you don't have document. It's the alcalde or the chief who have the prerogative to determine whether this is from my village or district, or this person is under 18 or 18 and above, or would be 18 on December 4th. Once the alcalde stamp, no IEC officials have the legal standing to question or to reject you. And remember that some of these agents also, they want to interview. But voter card issuing, there is no interviewing session. You cannot interview. That process is not part of it.
They no longer have that
And
power.
secondly, the issue of attestation, the law is very clear. We have an issue within Banjul.
No, we'll come to that specifically. I just want.
No, the issues that we observe. This is a major. Okay.
That's what I'll put that to you.
Okay, let me come in.
Let's go to the observation.
Okay, there's an observation we have. You asked me the observation.
Yes, right. We'll come to Banjul. Those are the issues, problematic issues. We will discuss. All of us will have a take on.
Yeah, we don't have. And also, secondly, you see, as a party or as an observer, there are set rules, policies, laws, and guidelines as per conduct of people at the polling centers. You see, you cannot go, it's forbid, and IEC told all political parties and observers, you cannot go to a polling center for one reason or the other. When you observe, you create problem, tension or commotion, or start to fight or taking videos, probably insulting or insinuating some tribal comments, and thus IEC must put a stop to it. All political parties, we must take charge of our parties, and that our agent should be told if there's any issue you cannot address with the supervisors or the SROs on the ground, revert to your people and they can make communication to the IEC so that the issues will be resolved. But not to have hooligans or gang of people going to polling centers and create tensions, and then this or can do as if you are now the law yourself. You go to the center and be a law and decide who should be issued a voter card or not. That one we must stop. That one we observe that there are a lot of.
So you, if I hear you well, you observe that you think that some members of IEC staff, either serving as electoral assistants or senior registration officers, are seen or are demonstrating partisanship. All right. You also question on that. Nobody should be questioned, even if you turn up. If you turn up with a paper, as long as you are attested to or brought these national documents, you should not be interviewed. You should just be registered. If the political parties present have issues with that, they record it and take it to the revising courts.
Correct.
You were not appalled or dismayed about, or you didn't come across foreigners trying to be registered, or somebody you look in the face and thought that this might be a minor. You didn't see all those.
Yeah, no, I have. For me, I have been to a lot of polling stations in the country, polling centers. But you know, it's only a crazy person who tell you that gisna ki rek deyurma hamne ki mom du Gambian. It's only a crazy person will think like that. So for me, I am not negative. I am not too sentimental. I do things based on law. And what we also observe, especially the first week, there are a lot of, in fact, up to now, mechanical problem or technical problems with the IEC. Their machines, I think, whether they are substandard or what, I'm not sure if they are value for money also, but they have this problem continues almost on a daily basis across the length and breadth of the country. After some time, the machine will, they develop problem, they have to stop or cool it down for some time. So these issues, and also some of the IC staff, as Mr. indicated, probably they are not acquainted with IT, and they are not acquainted also with the process, with the law, and they are not acquainted also with those technical issues. So there are a lot of issues, but I hope that because this will also, there is slow pace of issuing card a day, maybe 100 and something, but I'm sure IC will look after those things, and I was meant to understand that they will do an additional team and maybe to extend the time or to deploy additional teams to sort out those issues.
These are the points we will put to the IEC. We will have them on the line, so just keep watching the program. Now, Honorable Omar Ceesay of the GDC, how have been your party's observation and your own personal perspective on the first week of registration?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm so elated to form part of this platform. I believe, like you said right from the initial stage, that of course we are not actually here to maybe push and pull, but we are putting issues before the table for authorities responsible to see how best they can remedy some of these issues that we are putting forward. Well, I for one, I am yet to get mine because of the schedule in my area. I am supposed to go there on the 14th of this month to the 23rd of this month to ensure that I also obtain mine. First, I will encourage all Gambians eligible Gambians, to go and access their voters card as a starting point. Obviously, me not getting mine or not going to my area at this material moment does not necessarily mean I am not aware of all the happenings. And we have individuals, party supporters, agents everywhere in this country who are closely monitoring what exactly is taking place. And these are not open secrets. These are not things that are actually seen by the ordinary people. It is the ordinary people at the grassroots who are filtering this information to their party executive members. And to start with, the first observation we made is the technical problem of the IEC regarding their machines, their operation machines. Here, the machines, to me, they are very weak, they are very dormant to ensure that they fast track whatsoever process that they have to do. I don't know what mechanism was put in place, whether the machines were properly tested, whether the machines were properly cross-examined or whatever, but at the grass or on the ground, these machines are not operating as one would expect it. And you know what? This can discourage many Gambians. This can discourage elderly people. And in fact, very other people who are not ready to waste time or to spend so much time at the queue to ensure that they obtain this voters card. You will see an individual who will get to the registration center, okay, be there for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. That individual will leave. The following day, the party will go back there for one reason or the others. These machines are not operating as expected. The person will leave again. What do you expect from the person? Of course, I will encourage the person to go and still get one. But these are the individuals who will now distance themselves. They will not bother anymore to go and get one. This is a technical problem and it's discouraging many people. Secondly, right from the onset, I am against the issue of this attestation. And it is not a doubt, as long as I am concerned, that this is going to bring a problem in this country. And that is exactly what we are experiencing. Yes, the birth certificate is also another problem. Okay, maybe all that we can be, where we can rely on more is the issue of this passport, the issue of the ID card, and so on. But attestation, one, it is not a secret whether people in the NPP, whether people in other political party, people who are all behind this, I might not be able to tell, but they are aware of the IEC or other authorities having these minors being registered. And they are registering them based on the attestation that they provide to the IEC. Because this is a document that you cannot actually deny the individual. Like he said, you cannot just deny the person. The IEC, they have no mandate whatsoever to deny an individual or to restrict an individual from getting this the voter's card in as much as you provide one of these documents. And alkalis, I'm sorry to say, but the alkalis are the ones who are manipulating everything in the system. They will get these minors, these young individuals, under 8 people, they will go and give them this attestation, they will go and present it. Because they know that IEC in whatsoever form, they cannot deny them, they will give all these individuals the document to go and get registered. So it's a challenge to me.
Are the Alkalolo aware that these matters can end up a revising court where they will be brought in to swear to the Quran to attest to the rightful age of that individual? Are they aware that
it depends on the various areas, one can say, whether the IEC has taken it upon themselves to ensure that alkalis are sensitized and all those things in relation to the issues that you are talking about. But in as much as I am concerned is one thing I did. I summoned all the alkalis in my area, that is just last Sunday, and the chief and all VDC chairs in my area to let them know what are the repercussions of this, to educate them, to sensitize them as to how they should go about this. Okay, so it is very important not just to ask people to go and get voters card, but parties also should take it upon themselves. You don't just ask people to vote for you, but tell them how are they going to vote for you, which is very important. So the issue of sensitization,
about it, yes.
the issue of sensitization will come across. Political parties, CSOs, the media, all of them are important in this, and the IEC, even the government stakeholders, they are equally important in this. So it's a challenge. But the other issue that one can talk about in this case, now you will see this birth certificate.
Let's just stay with Nyamina. You come from Nyamina, though you said you've not been there yet. But that is where the allegations of minor registering came from. Do you have any specific evidence or knowledge about that?
Yes, I call individuals within it's not Nyamina, it's actually
Nyani.
It's
no, but it's Nyamina anyway.
Yes, you are generalizing. I just want to be specific.
But
To be precise. No, I just want to be precise.
Yeah.
For people to understand.
So it's not your constituency.
Yes, it's within Nyamina West.
Okay.
Okay, it happens there. Of course, I call individual, especially our representative in Nyamina West, to find out what exactly is taking place. But the pictures that are shown in the social media, of course, these are individuals that are living in Nyamina West. And these are individuals who are underage. So how they get this attestation, because you cannot tell me this individual, they obtain the ID card, they obtain the passport, they obtain whatsoever document, but it is the attestation that is used to allow those individuals to obtain this voting card. That is the challenge. So alcalis must be very careful as to who they are going to give this attestation. Because birth elections start from here.
You are moving now to birth certificate, yes. Just to round
Yes,
up.
the birth certificate is also another component. Because the whatever authority or influence is used to allow individuals to go to these health centers or whatever center to allow them to get this birth certificate when their age will be lifted or whatever form, like what they are doing with the attestation. Just yesterday, I have seen an individual who obtained this voting card, and what the person uses is birth certificate. And that birth certificate, underage, if you calculate the year of the individual, the person is an underage person, and the person obtained this birth certificate, the voting card. I have seen it myself.
But are you saying that even the age and the birth certificate?
Yes, I'm telling you.
Is less than 18?
I interrogate. In fact, somebody called me.
That's quite
I stopped the individual. I was interrogating the individual.
So is the age adjusted?
No, he's trying to
No,
say
what
that
I'm saying,
is that even the birth certificate
stipulated on the birth certificate
is less than 18.
is underage. I'm telling you.
That is
the person showed me his voting card. Show me the birth certificate.
No, let me help here because the information what they said with this machine.
Can I come in?
I was there the first day they were demonstrating until they printed a sample card.
Yes.
That if you enter any date of birth that is less than 18, the system will reject it because it's a required field.
Now listen. But that is, let's come.
Let me
clarify. You are coming. You are the next one. You are saying that you come across a claimant who obtained a voter's card using the birth certificate.
Very well.
But even in the birth certificate, the age reported for him or her was less than 18. So you are wondering how? All right, this is.
Let me jump 30 seconds.
It can come down to what you said.
That's what I said.
If electoral officers are showing partisanship, they can ignore.
No, let me jump 30 seconds.
The machine is a software. The way it is designed. IT is my background.
You have to feed the machine.
This is what I'm telling you, and it's a required field. If the date of birth is underage, the machine will not print it. This is what I'm telling you. I think the IEC are watching. They will clarify
the machine
that.
reads the birth certificate, or you are the one who feeds the
That's where.
Dodou Jah. Okay, let's come to the point.
From what I know,
Dodou Jah.
I'm coming now.
Dodou Jah.
It's not going to print it.
Dodou Jah.
It's a required field.
Dodou Jah.
What I'm asking is,
Lamin,
the machine read
Lamin,
the document?
Let him finish.
You enter.
Lamin Cham.
What I'm telling you,
Let him finish.
allow me to help him.
No, let me jump.
Let's come.
No, let me jump 1 second. 30 seconds.
No, let him finish.
No, let me jump 30 seconds.
Because all of you got your time and he didn't interject.
Let's come. He's the one who takes the point. We have to clear.
Let him finish.
What I wanted to clear is this. He said that he saw one whose date of birth, even in the ID card, birth certificate, was less than 18 and was able to obtain a voter's card.
That is false.
Jah is saying that it's not possible for the machine to accept a date that is less
Under 18, exactly.
What I and others are trying to establish is that is it that the machines read this accompanying documents, or is the human being who feed the eggs to them?
It's the human being.
That's
who
why I
does the
say so.
entry.
What about if the human being?
No, Lamin Cham,
They could adjust it.
That's what I'm saying.
They could adjust
that's
it.
where the
I
problem
quite
is.
agree to
Now
that.
you understand.
Lamin Cham.
So now you understand.
Lamin Cham.
Allow
him.
I think I am very clear on this.
Yeah, we understand. That's what we want to understand.
You should allow
Whatever
him
manipulation
to land.
was
You know what I want to understand?
No, this one, Lamin Cham, this one.
Is
It's
it-
not accurate.
Now listen, see.
I'm telling you what I have seen. I think you are sharing your
Okay,
experience
let's move
with
on.
what you have
Let's
seen.
move on. What we want to understand. Let's move on. He said he had that case. He wanted to prove him wrong. We thought it is impossible because we thought that it is a machine that will read the how to call the date that is in the supporting document. But that's not the case. It's the human being, the electoral officer.
I want to ask me a question.
Let him
I want to ask me a question. Just clarification.
Let's see the ask.
No.
Let me ask you some question.
Mr. Cham.
No, your
Mr.
turn
Cham.
is coming.
No,
You just
Mr. Cham, wait. Mr.
No,
Cham.
you wait.
You know, Mr.
See,
Cham.
ask, cross-examine him. Cross-examine him.
Yeah, I want to ask him a question.
Cross-examine him. This is
What age is indicated in the birth certificate?
The person got 18 years. No, 17 years, I mean. If you calculated what is stipulated there, after calculating everything, the person got 17 years.
Now the person wait. The person got 17 years, some months.
Not some months, exactly 17 years.
Today.
Yes. No, that was yesterday. I came across this person
So the birth certificate was what? Can you tell us the date?
No, I cannot give you the date.
I'm coming. Wait. Lamin Cham, no, I'm driving a point.
No, I cannot.
Okay.
I had issues with what you were saying. I didn't ask
the
you.
law is saying.
I'm in control.
Lamin Cham, the law is saying.
What city want to establish?
I cannot tell you.
No, what city want to establish?
Yes.
17 years could still
17
qualify.
years to December.
Yes.
Whether it is 17 and a half.
I know that better.
I
know that better.
My friend.
I know
If
if you
you
have
vote
few
in
months
his
before
mouth.
election,
Yeah.
if that will make you to reach the age
By
18,
December.
you might be giving
But
the
that's not
voters
the
card.
case.
That is not the case.
Another question.
I
Final
know that better.
question.
Final
question.
I know that better.
Lamin Cham, you see, I asked my question. He could not identify that. For me, my party, and as a responsible politician, a responsible member of parliament, and executive member of a party, I have an evidence, somebody with a birth certificate, and 4th December is less than 18 years. They inputted. I will be able to tell you the date of the birth certificate, the name of the child, where the person come
But
from.
you probably have
But
to.
this let me
he has to reserve that for them, not for this program.
No,
Listen,
not for this
I
program.
think you are.
Okay, let's move.
Let
on.
me-
I wouldn't let that
Let me
go.
make this clear.
I wouldn't let that
Now
go.
listen now.
I'll have
Listen
it.
now.
Cham, you are not fair.
Let me say this.
I will have it again.
Let me
You
say
don't
this.
expect him to
I am giving
keep that
you-
for this program.
Of
He'll
course.
keep that for.
Of course.
That one is not
Let me say
accurate.
this.
Finally.
You
Finally,
are asking about my party
Finally.
observation of those stuff.
Yeah.
And from there we have recommendation,
Exactly.
we have measures or step to take to ensure that some of this manipulation happening, the necessary measures are taken.
Okay.
I'm not there to tell you what exactly will be
Exactly what
taken.
you are
after
gonna do.
all.
Okay.
So I am just giving you the synopsis
We
of what
understand
has
that.
happened, what I have
Siri,
experienced,
he doesn't.
what I have
He's
encountered.
under no. He's under no obligation to tell us what they will do. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Nyawuru Komma of the UDP. What has been your observations, you or your party?
Thank you for just bringing up that wonderful and very concerning question. But what I want to tell my colleagues...
Start with the observations.
No, the
of your
observation
party.
is about what has happened.
Start with the observation of your
the
party.
observation I'm getting into.
Yes.
What I want to tell my
Start
colleagues
with that
is
first.
what the Honorable have said. You cannot just squash it off like that at the sideways.
We will come to
We
that.
have
Go
to.
straight to your party.
I'll come straight because when I want to just go to the next step without addressing this, it might just come past. But this one is near, and so that is what I also say. When people are responsible for imputing data into something,
Lamin Cham,
you cannot.
No, you deny us contributing
Let's
on that.
go to. You are contributing, of course.
No,
But
I'll ask a question.
Mr. Cham,
We will come to
Mr.
that.
Cham.
You were asked, you were
Mr. Cham,
No,
I know what CD is doing. He wouldn't get that. I know what he is doing. He wouldn't get that.
Okay, he's right. Let's go to your central point.
I know what CD is doing. He wouldn't get that. We
give.
gave them ample time. They were all given minutes.
But come to
They
your
express
central
whatever they
point.
want to
You will have
express
time to interject. Just go
without
straight to
without
your.
going through this.
Okay, go
stress.
straight
So
to
don't
your
bring
observation.
that.
You will interject. You will have
But
time.
I know what you are running away from, and you will hear that.
I told you this program is not one against the other.
What is our take?
But it's not also
What is our take? Is the way we are saying if the IEC wants to conduct a very efficient, credible election. This is, they started it on the wrong footing. You know what doubts me? We've witnessed general elections and presidential elections in the past But the manner in which and the numbers in which these attestations are given this time around is far 10 times more than 10 folds more than the way it was given.
Okay.
Attestations are used in peculiar instances because people are expected to have birth certificates when they are born in this country. You want to tell me 80% of the Gambian population or 60% of people going to look for voters' cards to rely on attestations only when they are born in this country? They attend school, and normally here people, when they are registered in schools, they need to produce birth certificates. Many of those people went through school systems. They had birth certificates. Some have ID cards. Maybe some have alien cards even. But because of the right that is given to the alcalde to give attestation to whosoever, and the law states it very clearly for alcalos in the manner in which this attestation should be given. It is not to everybody. You should be able, as the alcalo, to identify the parent or the guy who comes and look for the attestation that he is born within your community. It is not anybody who comes, you just stamp, go. It is not like that. The law also is specific on the issuance of attestations. Attestations cannot be given to people who are born in Basse. You are residing in Manjai, you come to the alcalo of Manjai for him to give you attestation. That's wrong. You're supposed to go to Basse for the alcalo of Basse to attest to that you are born in Basse. But you see people address born in Basse, attestation given in Dipakunda. It's wrong.
As the mayor is doing in Banjul.
It's wrong. That is very wrong.
Yeah.
That is what the law says clearly. And we know what is happening in this country. This is why people are saying when we want to make system change in this country, the alcalos and the CFOs are at the behest of the incumbent. Because they can sack you, they can remove you from office without any law. There is no qualification, there is no yardstick in people controlling these people. So we all know what is happening in this country. We all know what used to happen in this country. They play to the tune of the incumbent. Because this complaint is not coming from anybody, you're not crying foul. And what you see now, these 4 documents are outlined to be the documents that should qualify one to get a voter's card. Fine, that is what the law says. But what is the law saying about people who are deliberately issuing it to people? We are all grown-ups, my friend. You cannot see a 15-year-old, you determine that he is 18. We all know what is happening in this country. Those are criminal activities that people are getting into with the support of who? The alcalis. Because they know that nobody can control that. And they don't, some of them are not sincere. They don't even care what happens later. And we don't even know what will happen in the revising court, the time frame, the availability of magistrates.
It's here.
No, wait.
I can tell you
later you'll come to tell me, but I have heard that several times.
No, but this one.
We have a process in this country that justice is always delayed deliberately.
Well, I can tell you
I can
tell the Chief
Mr. Cham,
the Chief Justice had.
I'm not disputing what the Chief Justice has said. Yeah. You look at the human resource capital of that department, that is that ministry. How many magistrates are available for the revising court? You want to tell me all the if you can even bring all the magistrates in this country to sit only on revising court without attending, you still have some
you ask him issues and he's lecturing.
No, I'm not lecturing. What I'm saying are issues that are very concerning. Many observations. I'm talking about the attestation, and you want to just force me to say things. No. Allow me to come through the way I want.
Yeah.
Yes. Even if I want to start at top and go top and bottom system, is mine. Yeah. This is my time. So allow me to learn this attestation issue. I will say some of these are deliberate. And what our party stalwarts, executive members of parties, executive parties are doing within the alcalos settlement just to make sure that people get attested. In the Pakunda here, I was there, I didn't enter, but I was there with Honorable Yakumba. Maimuna Balde was sitting with the alkali in the room, giving attestation to people who are born in Basse, in the Pakunda. What was Maimuna doing at the alcalos house at that material time in time when they are giving attestation? For what reason?
Lamin Cham.
No. Don't interrupt. We've known that alcalo came through a system that was very controversial. The people's choice in the Pakunda was not the alcalo chosen. It's an ambassador at large of the NPP who is the alcalo appointed there, Mr. Fatou. Okay, I'm coming. These are conflicts of interest that are just messing this electoral process. When you come to Brikam, you have a senior registration officer, Fatou Boja. He is an executive member of the NPP in Brikam. He is the senior registering officer. What do you expect that guy to do only to serve the interest of her party in the process? So if my honorable friend here is saying some of these members in the IEC are trying to be partisan or found partisan, I think he is defeating that lacuna. He should start with his own party. Fatou Bojang, he knows him. He knows her. She is an executive member of the regional executive there. She is NPP throughout. She is the CRO in Brikam.
Senior registration officer.
Senior registration officer. Issues like that. And let people don't mix things up. I always try to address this issue. The IEC is saying having party agents at the registration center and raising certain and giving certain opportunities to get to the registration process is a privilege. That is not a privilege. It's a right anywhere in the world, including the most civilized democracies. If you are a stakeholder, you are a party to an election, you should be able to peruse through each and every document. That's why they have recounts in the United States and other parts of the world. Because party members there at the electoral process see that there is some malpractice. If somebody is not a party to that process, how can he complain? How can he lodge complaints? How can he even take people to revising courts? That cannot be called a privilege with political parties. That is a right.
Okay.
As far as you have a political party, you have the right to know what is happening in that process that you will play. Like a player in the match, 90 minutes, you put on a jersey, you have a right as a player in the game. Not only whatever the referee decides. No, that's why we have a rule book. You cannot call that privileges. So these are these are the issues we have. And they're saying one thing also. I get to Omar's issue. This issue of registration. When do you input? When the guy deliberately input something wrong, the age will not show up there because he holds the document. The document is just a reference, but the material input is done by the individual.
Yeah, fed by
so how can you assure us that that is not foul play? Secondly, we were all complaining about the technical errors. Couldn't be a technical error that the machine that was set to control 18 control 16? It's possible.
That cannot
no, you cannot attest to that.
I'm talking about software.
Right.
It's my area.
No.
We are now, okay, you have exhausted.
Even softwares.
You have exhausted.
Even softwares have defects.
Yes.
There is no guaranteed 100% software.
This has a server, unless you know how server.
Even if it has a server.
We cannot do guesswork.
No,
people are watching. We have to give facts.
We are not giving guesswork. Somebody is in control of the server.
I am telling you that is not.
No. That one you cannot attest anywhere. Even you are the professor of IT, I will not conclude. I will not concur. Even those servers and the software, somebody designed it and somebody controls it. If he is found to corrupt that server, how can you know that he corrected the server?
Let's stick with the point.
Nobody. I will tell you, there is no common sense that will qualify that. Even the server you talk about is man-made, is created by somebody. The software is created by somebody and developed by somebody, controlled by someone. If that guy happens to the guy who tampers with that software, what can you do about it? You cannot guarantee that. There is nobody who can guarantee that.
Thank
you. And thirdly,
Lamin, he mentioned our executive member, so let me just...
No, we are coming to that first. Thank you very much.
Are we discussing or do we have to be sentimental and get emotional?
At this point, I want to...
No, this is the problem because you were saying nobody is sentimental.
You have exhausted.
I have said what I supposed to say and I was not talking about any political party. I was talking about the electoral process.
Let me tell you...
That cannot be sentimental. If anybody want to be sentimental about that, it's okay.
Let me remind you all, members of the panel, about the rules here. Talk only when I said talk. All right? Let's go to Essa NJIE, lecturer at the University of Gambia.
He made issues.
No, we will come to that.
No, he mentioned our...
We are going there directly to you. You will answer that directly and he will answer yours too.
Again,
he will answer yours. The queries in Banjul and we are coming to that. Essa, lecturer at the University of the Gambia and a member of the civil society organization who have been observing the elections. Essa, please be here, my independent analyst, because I tried as much as possible, but these people are really so much engrossed in partisanship. So much so. Essa, what have been your honest opinion of the CSO?
No, Lamin, he made something
in the process. We are coming to there, Seedy. I told you specific allegations to your party will be put to you to answer. To his party, he will answer that. So come, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham. Greetings to our beautiful viewers out there, and of course to my co-panelists here. I think elections are very important components of democratic process in any country. And in Gambia, of course, in a transition, this is a very crucial election as far as our strive to democratic consolidation is concerned. Always people will say, or scholars will say, the free, fair, and transparent nature of every election is determined by the pre, during, and post-election processes. And of course, registration forms an important component of that process, where we register Gambia experienced a political impasse in 2016 when there was a minor error, or technical error, whatever you call it, on the side of the IEC, and that nearly put this country into a political mayhem. But then, coming fast forward to 2021, like I said earlier on, it's a very important, elections in our political history. Having the IEC registering people across the country is so, it tells well about how progressive we are going as far as our democracy is concerned. Generally, the observation on the side of the CSO coalition, for instance, at our Center for Research and Policy Development, CRPD, we must say that I think a lot of people are coming out to register. That's an achievement, and that's something that we want to say, that Gambians are really so in concern that these elections is so important to them. Myself, at an individual level, I've seen people who were never interested in elections before, but then telling us that this time around we're going to vote. And then people also trying to show concern about the people that are registering, for instance, minors or non-nationals here and there. These things are very important. Kudos to every Gambian out there who is interested in this election. With regards to some of the issues that all my co-panelists have raised here, I think this cuts across, especially when it comes to the registration of minors. That is in fact confirmed by the communication officer of the IEC, who clearly said that in NBR, because I was just talking to him even this morning, he's right now in Kerr, who said that minors were registered in NBR. Also, Nyamina West, that was Nyamina Sambang Fula, to be specific. I was in that polling station, that registration center during the Nyamina West by-election as an observer, where minors have been registered. If you look at them facially, you see them, you think that, oh, yes, you can confirm that this one is not up to 18. I think something is raised by Mr. NJIE that, with regards to the issuance of attestation, I think this is a general problem for everybody almost. I think Gambia in 2021, if we want to make progress in our democracy, we should be able to get rid of those bad laws that we complain about were existing during Jammeh's time. But sadly in this country, it seems like all that we complain about Jammeh, that these were bad, are the same things that we are maintaining. I never thought that 2021 December elections, Gambia will use the 1997 constitution to vote. I never thought that 2021 December 4th, Gambia will use the old electoral law to vote. That sends a bad signal as far as our democracy is concerned.
We are not here about the constitution. Let him tell us the
So
issues.
he's coming.
With all due respect, let's allow people to be land.
Let
Let him tell us what the issues are.
Allow him to go. Talk only to me. Don't interrupt people.
But this is a general observation.
Don't interrupt people. Go ahead. Don't interrupt. The rule is.
Nobody will land here. We can make it as bad
don't
as you want.
You should not even
allow him to land.
Look, you are not allowed, even if he talks, you are not allowed to answer to him. Don't talk until I talk. You two are not allowed to talk. You two are not allowed to talk. You two are not allowed to talk.
This is the second time.
When it comes to the electoral law, specifically on the registration, the issuance of attestation, we all have problem with that. And like he mentioned, anybody who comes, the law does not give powers to the IEC or anybody else to kind of interview or stop anybody from registering. But it beats my imagination. Mr. Cham, if I go and get a 5-year-old from my house and say, Alcalo, issue an attestation, this one, he's 18. We all know this is a kid. Then he's telling me that the law, how do you call it, the electoral officers there have to issue a registered voter's card to this person, even though the entire world can attest that this one is not 18. Clearly, that is what they are telling us. And that is why I have problem with this particular law. The issuance of attestation, we know, certainly in this country, Alcalos and Sefolus have been politicized to a great extent. Yes. Do you understand? What we know is that some people, you said we'll come to that, when it comes to Banjul, elected officials issuing attestation. Of course, the mayor is an elected official. Yeah. That partisan tendency is there. But then also, I mean, technically, Alcalos and Sefolus have been politicized in this country. Do you understand? What we have observed, this is not about accusing any political party. But the tendency of Alcalos taking sides with the incumbent is higher in every country than the opposition. We know how it works. Do you understand? So what the IEC should do, for me, as far as that particular law is concerned, something that has to do with issuance of attestation, this is very problematic. And I'm telling you, Gambians should be very careful. The registration process can create chaos in this country.
if we are not mindful, especially in certain areas, certain political hotspots in this country. You go to places like Talinding, where some people are telling you that we are on a standby. We are not going to allow non-nationals to register here. We are not going to allow minors to register here because we know the political affiliations of these alcalos. And I have a problem when it comes to still the issuance of attestation. An alcalo in Talinding cannot even know, maybe will not even know Essa NJIE, who was born in Talinding. A CFO in Kombanot or wherever you call it, cannot know somebody who is born in another village. How do you attest that? He said something very important. Sometimes we just think that, oh, the alcalo wants the because the attestation we have to also understand is not from the alcalo, it's from the IEC, where you go to the registration center, get this attestation, and then take it to the alcalo to stamp it or whatever. But it is incumbent on the alcalo as well. It is his or her responsibility to make sure that he attests to say that this individual is born in my community. We're just making this very simple to say the alcalo can just attest. No, it is your responsibility because at the end of the day, they'll be revising costs as they said. But just like Mr. Honorable Ceesay said, how do you call it, the UDP man was, Komma said, what are the human resources available for the Justice Ministry, for instance, to deal with these cases? At the end of the day, what we have in this country is that we always say due process, due process, due process.
Issues are issues.
No, but just with all due respect, let's respect each other. And this is a forum where we are expected to, voice our opinions and our observations. I'm asked a question, just allow me to learn. Now, when it comes to the revising courts, does the Ministry of Justice have the capacity, the human resource to deal with all these cases? It seems like, because what they said clearly, after the end of registration, 14 days, people have the right to lodge complaints. 60 days, they will deal with these cases. Yes. But now, when are they going to deal with these cases in 60 days to the extent that they are done with all of them? This is happening at a rampant scale in every part of this country. How are they going to deal with all these cases? Talked about the human resource thing. But then I just want to finally come to the issue of sensitization the Honorable Ceesay raised. That is very important. The role of National Assembly members must get to their people to sensitize their alcalos and CFOs about the consequences of these actions. Because it seems like some of them, I even had in behind thinking that, oh, we can do this, at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. You know the Maslaha syndrome in the Gambia? Yes, we'll just do it. They're just talking. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. The magistrate courts or the revising courts that we are talking about, if we are not mindful, nothing will come out of them. And if nothing comes out of those things, people seeing minors and non-nationals registering, when elections are over, one declared winner, there's a tendency that the other countries issues. And when that happens, we will not know what will happen. Post-election violence can ensue, which we don't pray for.
Let me, just briefly, before I bring the problematic, let me see what the Chief Justice said about this revising courts. He, last week, the whole entire judiciary were packed together and sensitized on these election matters. The Chief Justice said, at the conclusion of the registration of voters, the Chief Justice is empowered on the advice of the IEC to establish revising courts in each administrative area with a mandate to hear and determine any objections to the register and to make the necessary orders accordingly. Each revising court would be presided over by a first-class magistrate, and each court is required to render its decision within 60 days of a notice of an appeal or objection to any entry in the register. The Supreme Court of the Gambia, of course, has also a role to play in the resolution of electoral disputes. He said again, it is necessary that the conditions laid by the law for the compilation of such register are strictly observed in order to properly identify those citizens who can legitimately participate in the process of elections. Disputes and challenges are not uncommon in the process of registration of voters and in the various stages which followed and which ultimately in the conduct of elections. But all such disputes should, however, be resolved peacefully and in accordance with the law and the due process. So you see, the Chief Justice is saying that even at every given stage, whether it's passport, ID card, or attestation, the laws should be obeyed to the latter. If the alcalo is going to attestate, he must do so by ensuring that the person is attestating actually attained the age and is born in the Gambia. Okay, let's go to the problematic areas. First, let me go to you. You've been seen here as the independent one.
Let me say
mayor of Banjul.
Let me say something.
No. The mayor of Banjul.
No, can I say something? I want to raise something to you. I want to raise something to you.
No.
I'm appealing. Please, I want to raise something to you. So, I'm sorry. Please, I want to raise something to you. you gave us an opportunity.
Yeah.
And you quoted us to issues.
Yeah.
We read those issues.
Yeah.
But it's to UDP people, you allow them to
No.
I'm
coming to you.
No, let me finish.
Sorry, wait, Mr. Cham, let's clear something here. Who is a UDP? Who is a UDP?
You are allowing Seedy to create.
Mind your words. Don't affiliate me with any political party, please. No, let him withdraw that. Let me finish. Let him witdraw that. Can you withdraw that?
That's why I
told you. Let me comment.
I'm going to give you the specific things he mentioned.
No, you're being sentimental.
No, let me Cham.
I'm telling you.
No, let me
That's what you are concerned with.
You gave us round.
Now let's have your way.
Mr. Cham.
Let's have your
Exactly.
Now let's
have something to clarify.
Let me clarify. Essa, you know, I told Seedy a number of times the allegations made in the Pakunda of the presence of your NPP man with the Alcalo. You will be asked that question specifically to answer. So why are you in a hurry?
No, you have to be fair. He just finished now.
No,
you want to go back again to him.
No. I am starting a topic with him. That is.
I don't know why you agitating what he has to say. You want him to say what is not the truth. He has to say what is true. You just want him to say something to satisfy you.
No, I told you.
No, Mr. Cham, I'm close to you. That's why you dragging me, holding me all the time. Nine. Seedy is the guy interrupting this program.
I told them the rules, but they
no, is Seedy breaking the rules?
I want to know.
Is him.
The mayor of Banjul has been, let's say, there's a lot of complaints that she being, an elected officer who is interested in elections should not morally be the person who should attest people to register because she's an interest. She's an interest group.
Okay.
It's an interest party. So, but then the IEC came out to explain that since there are no Alkalolu or Sefos in Banjul, naturally the council is the head of the local authority and she's the head of the council. And the mayor has said that this was the practice under several mayors in the past. Where this common sense lies between these two arguments?
Morally and even legally. I've seen this when the mayor issued an attestation and, a lot of public outcry out there to say she has no authority based on the law to issue attestation. I also asked the same question. In fact, when this happened, I called an IEC official to say, well, this is what is happening. It was news to him, surprisingly. He also said, well, I'm not aware of that. And I said, what happens now? In this case, because the mayor has issued an attestation and she is not, according to the law, she is not mentioned to issue an attestation. She said, well, they have to take it to the Banjul IEC office and they will know how to deal with that. But then I asked this question and said, you see, there is what we call, when the law is silent on a particular matter, it subjects that matter to variant interpretations. Yes. People use various interpretations to that. That is why the law being silent on issues sometimes can be problematic. The law says that Alcalo and Sefolus can issue attestation. Does not say in the case of Banjul, mayor. And Banjul, we all know, has no Alcalo or Sefol. Now, what I put, because we had a debate also on our CRPD page about this election observation, the voter registration observation. Some of them were saying, no, the mayor should not issue. I said, you know what is going to happen? We're going to have a right violation if a Banjulian who does not have a voter's card, doesn't have an ID card, a passport, and a birth certificate, is denied the right to vote because he or she cannot obtain that attestation to obtain a voter's card. The person is denied the right to vote, meaning his or her right to vote is being violated by the state, which is number one. I said, two, the second thing has to do with discrimination. Somebody born in Talinding or Wuli or anywhere in this country can obtain an attestation because there is an Alcalo or Sefo in that region. To issue that attestation, the person has the right to vote, even though he or she does not have any passport or ID card or birth certificate, but just an attestation has given the person the right to vote. How about a Banjulian who does not equally have these documents, but is denied that document because there is no Alcalo or Sefo there? I said the law or the state has, or the law, let me say specifically, has discriminated against a Banjulian, and his or her right to vote has been violated. So for me, it is about interpretation. And somebody said, well, maybe the Supreme Court will have to interpret the law in that case. Whether the mayor, but then that has not happened. But somebody told me also, I cannot verify this, but somebody said to me, also part of our observation, that observation team, that the mayor in fact raised this issue before a committee, whether they are composed of parliamentarians or so, where she said, in the case of Banjul, I am going to issue attestation because there are no Alcalos and Sefols. Then what did the IEC or the relevant authorities do about that? What did they say about that when she raised this issue? That was the first point. They should have objected to that if they think that she has no right to issue an attestation. That was where the problem should have been addressed. But now we waited till she issued an attestation and we start complaining. The IEC was aware of it. The members of parliament were aware of it. I think he's nodding his head that
yeah, the IEC themselves said.
So that was exactly. So in that case, for me, what I said, I'm not saying that the mayor is legally qualified or authorized to issue attestation. But what I'm saying is that the law is silent on that particular issue. And when the law is silent on a matter, it subjects that matter to various interpretations. And that is what people are using. And in fact, it's the same thing that the mayor is also using. She's using her own interpretation.
In that case, what happens if somebody raises a case against all those attested? Because you see the easiest thing the simple thing to raise objection is that you know that all attestation claimants are classified differently from those who came with national documents. You know that, so it's easy to know who you are objecting to.
Exactly.
So what about if somebody raised a legal challenge against those attested by the mayor at the revising court? What will happen?
No, it's just
when there's no law to rely on.
No, because it's still the same process. It has to do with, people challenging people who acquired voters' card not in the right way. And then it goes to the revising courts and they sit over it. But for me, it is not only the first thing we have to address, because the mayor's case is different from all others.
Yes.
For instance, the mayor is in an attestation and the Carlos is in an attestation is different. As you said, the mayor is an elected official and has an interest in the election. So he belongs to a particular political party, we all know. Do you understand? And Alcalo, we assume, it is assumed that the Alcalo is non-partisan, okay, independent or whatever. But when it goes to the court, before you challenge, the mayor issuing an attestation or the person not qualified to obtain that attestation, you have to challenge whether the mayor has the right to issue an attestation or not. And that comes to the issue of interpretation, where the Supreme Court will have to decide on that.
Which will take time. That means suspend registration in Banjul until the what is your take on that?
Thank you very much. First, let me make some clarity on what is discussed here about this attestation. The law is very clear. What the electoral law says, you must be born or resident. We're taking out resident, just only focusing in being born. I'll give you an example. I am born in Basse. I used to live with Basse with my parents. Now I relocate to Fajikunda. That's where our compound is. This is where we're staying. If I don't have a passport, ID, or a birth certificate, I have to go to Basse. That alkali has to give me attestation to prove that I was born in Basse. Then I have to come to the alcalo of Fajikunda with that attestation to secure another attestation in Fajikunda so that I'll be registered in order to be able to vote in Fajikunda.
That's how it should be.
Yes. This has to be clear. Let people understand that.
But is that what's happening?
It's not happening.
Now listen.
I got one case from Abuko that the guy has an attestation from Basse, but the alcalo of Abuko is denying that person of having an attestation. I interfered. Have to get the IEC involved. They explained, and the alcalo accepted to give attestation. This is why I said people must know the law.
So that's what the whole thing is.
It has to be clear. So it's not only you are born, is born and also being resident. I could live in Manjai, but I have a shop at the Serekunda market. I can go and register in Dipakunda or Serekunda because it's closest. I am not born in Serekunda. So if I don't have any other document, I go to the alkali of Manjai to give the attestation. Then I come to Serekunda to acquire another attestation. This is what I wanted to clarify. People have to understand.
It's not happening.
Secondly, let's come to the age. Essa mentioned it here. Like people were seeing minors being registered, i.e. saying it, the law is clear. In order to be registered, you must be 18 or you will turn 18 before election. So 5-year-old kid cannot come and the IEC allow them to register. You blame the IEC. By saying somebody who's 12, 13 or 15, the IEC has a right to say, no, you are too young, you cannot register.
Their hands are tied.
No, don't say their hands are tied.
That's
the
what
law
they say.
is clear. They should abide by the law. If they allow it to take place or precedent, the IEC should be blamed. Because the pictures we're seeing on social media, if it is true, I will hold IEC responsible.
It's very true.
Because the staff should be well trained, and let's not say the law is very clear about the age. 18 or you will turn 18 before the election. So if a minor comes, there is no way they should be registered.
See this law.
No way. No, it's not about see this law. No. This has to be clear. Now, on the issue of Banjul, let me help here.
Yes.
Banjul is an island. Let's not forget about that. It's an island. Banjul has...
What has an island to do with
I am coming.
He is coming. He will lie.
Why I say Banjul is an island? I am coming. And again, there's a hospital accessible. Most people, that's where they go for birth certificate.
This is the problem.
And all the streets in Banjul are labeled and numbered.
Yes.
If somebody comes for attestation or comes with an attestation, where do you live? Liman Street. Which number? They don't know the number. My friend, send them away. They don't have to register. People in Banjul knows one another. Even those who have relocated. Banjul, why I said it's an island. I am coming to that.
Now, thank you. Point of island.
Allow me. That's why I said it's an island.
Where everybody.
It's a very small community.
I will come and support that.
Everybody is all connected.
Everybody knows.
I grew up in Hardington. So the people who were there, even they will ask you who's your parent or grandparent, they will be able to tell you.
Now, before I
the
go,
question
one
is,
point I want to buttress. That's very clear. Banjul has street names and compound numbers.
Yes.
So obviously, even if somebody, we talk to the diaspora, if somebody in the United States of America, the person must have an address in Banjul or street number. So the voter's card of anybody in Banjul should bear the street name and number.
Exactly.
Now,
that's why I am not done
That's
yet.
acceptable.
I am not
that
done
should be
yet.
acceptable.
The issue of Banjul here, why should people from the combos come in their like numbers in Gelegeles to go for attestation in Banjul? That's definitely
I can tell you.
That may be possible.
No,
as long as
I can tell him.
As long as
I can tell him
definitely
might be
they are bona fide Banjulians
who live outside.
From the number,
many of them live outside.
That's why
as long as
the law says where you are born or resident. Why should I come all the way from Dipakuda going to Banjul for attestation? When I have an allow in Dipakuda,
let me come there. That's a
allow me.
No, you see,
listen. I have seen people. A lot of people here who are resident here. They are from Baribo or Kia.
Yes.
They prefer
going back to Kia. Yes.
So it's a matter of choice. So you cannot hold them there. What I think is fundamentally questionable is for somebody to be from Banjul, have a voter's card, and does not have the street and the compound name. That one is because why? I was in the struggle about this fight against illegal registration 20-30 years ago. And one of the reasons we said KMC is definitely vulnerable to electoral fraud is that the streets are not numbered.
They don't have street names.
No street names. So unlike Banjul, it will be very difficult to control fraudulent registration. But Banjul was a classical example where...
Let me help you. You mentioned people coming from Kiang or other places.
Yeah, who wanted to go to Kiang.
If you trace their roots, they will tell you where they come from in Kiang. You'll find their families there and the compound they came from.
To go there.
But unlike Banjul, somebody who comes, which street, you cannot even give a compound name or number. This is the issue I am raising at. That's why I'm telling you Banjul is small. It's a community that all are connected. Now, unless you are never resident in Banjul. If I am from Basse, resident in Tipakunda, I have every right to go back to Basse. I am already known there.
Now let's
unlike people coming from the Combos coming to Banjul.
Is the mayor qualified or not? Let's deal with that.
For me, the mayor is qualified based on the criteria to give it to the people that were born and resident in Banjul. These are not minors.
So the issue is,
these are elderly people who claim to be born in Banjul and they don't even know where they came from.
The issue, according to you, is that the mayor may be the competent authority to issue. But what you don't find, tangible or what you find sensible is how can somebody be registered in Banjul without knowing his or her street or compound number?
Exactly. If I am from Dipakunda, I should get it at Dipakunda. That's why
how are you sure that the people who are registered, they don't know they are?
Because it's not your turn.
No, it's my turn.
Now, I ask you specific questions. One, what is your take?
This is me and you.
What is your take on Banjul, Mayor? Two, Komma made. Listen, let's talk about Mayor, and also Komma made. I want straightforward answers. Komma made allegations.
Examples.
That you mentioned at the first place. You mentioned yourself that you believe that people in the electoral staff of the IEC currently are showing partisans.
Yes.
He alleged that one of your NPP people, Fatou Bojang. No. Fatou Bojang is senior registration officer in Brikama and is a known NPP member.
Yes.
She said Maimuna Balde, was it?
Yes.
Was found in the Alcalos compound in the Pakunda,
Palo.
supervising attestation.
Yes.
Now, doesn't that also conflict, her position as an interest party?
You see, Lamin Cham,
so those are the two things I want you to address. First the mayor.
Yeah, Lamin Cham. No, let me go to this thing first. The mayor will come last.
Okay.
Lamin Cham, let's set the record straight. Whether you are an executive member of a political party, or you are a civil society activist, or you are not known to be an executive member, everybody belongs to a political party.
Yes.
Let's establish that. And let's establish the fact that members of the civil society who are calling themselves observers and members of the over 1,000 people IEC took on contract as people in charge of issuing voters card, they all belong to political parties.
Yes. But in their exercise,
Lamin, wait. Let me come. If you don't allow me to finish,
I know.
Lamin, wait.
Okay,
when Dodou was making important issues, you were just interjecting.
Go ahead.
When Nyawuru
my friend, go ahead.
Just go ahead with your
Let me comment.
You are accusing everybody of
what we are saying, we don't even here, they are partisans. Because, Lamin Cham, it's not sensible for somebody to hold a 5-year-old and take the person to a...
No, it's 10, 11. That's an example.
He's giving
that's
an example.
What we saw from the 12, 13 is just an example.
No, he meant
he said clearly that if you don't have to question that. The IEC officer do not have to question. That's why the 5-year-old can be
Okay, that's an example.
Let's set the record straight.
Yeah, go on, that's an example. Let's go ahead.
The record cannot be straight.
People belong to various political parties. And they are in the civil society, they are in the IEC, they are with the media, they are with the farming community, they are everywhere. What we are saying, in the execution of your duty, you must be apolitical.
Exactly.
You must not be sentimental, and you must not exercise your responsibility. If whether the name Fatou or whatever, any Gambian.
You know her.
Now listen.
Any Gambian.
Now listen.
Any Gambian.
Supposed to talk.
He
but
knows.
Talk
Lamin, any Gambian or anybody who turns up to a queue, irrespective of your political affiliation as an IEC official, form, you are expected to give the person the form. You are expected to give the person form. You are not expected to interview the person.
That's why he's 5-year-old.
My friend, you will have time deducted from your if you continue to interject, okay?
No,
go ahead.
Okay,
tell Nyawuru and my friend, let them, please, I know we don't belong to this
just go ahead.
I'm neutral.
No, you are not.
I'm not partisan.
You are not.
Let me,
you are good at
please go straight forward.
You are not.
Because don't interrupt.
When they were talking, I was quiet.
Yes.
I was really
you
quiet.
try to be quiet, but you were. But go ahead.
No, let me comment. You see, we are mixing the things.
Okay.
We must be responsible enough. This is about law. It's not about what your party want or what you want as an organization or whatever. If any NPP member on the IEC, I am telling you, you must not be political.
Very good.
You must be apolitical.
Very good.
Because I know those IEC officials, people are there belong to various political parties. They are UDP, NPP, APRC, AG, whatever. Even the civil society, most of them, they are oppositions. They are into various political parties. What we are saying is, the law said is very clear. And it is wrong for one to say that as a party official. As a party official, you cannot go and check your agent, or you cannot go and talk to an alcalo. You have the right to do that. And in fact, Nyawuru and Yakumba, what they are giving is baseless. They said party officials should not go to the alcalo. What were they doing at the alcalo's house?
No, I didn't.
Keep quiet.
No, you see, I'll come to you.
Lamin Cham.
Lamin Cham,
we must
take note of what
Lamin
you're writing and keep quiet.
Lamin Cham, whether Maimuna Balde or anybody have the right to go to any alcalo or any chief to discuss with you, to talk to you, to ask you any question, as they did. For that is not an issue. Maimuna Balde have the right to go there, and if she can go there, back there tomorrow. And what was Yakumba doing there? And they were misinforming people. I had Yakumba make a statement that was hilarious, an audio. That's why I make statement. You see, the courts are there. What I am saying, anybody given attestation affirmed by the alcalo must be issued a voter's card. Whether you are, it is not sensible for a 5-year-old person or a 3-year or 10-year-old to be given. But the law is saying, if you think this person is a minor or is an underage, Right, go to the revising court. No, let me come in. Let me come in. Go to the revising court. That is just the law. And then you must not create tension. And as a civil society, you cannot say this will bring problem, electoral dispute over there. For me, that's my position on that. On this issue of mayor.
Yes, right.
I wanted to talk about the mayor of Banjul you said now.
Okay, yes.
Talk about her.
You see, it's only ignorant will say the law is silent on the issue of there is lacuna in the law. There is no lacuna in the law. The law is very clear, explicit, that for one to acquire voter's card, you must have birth certificate, passport, ID card, or attestation. If it is only attestation, then the law is not very clear. Then it becomes who should give attestation. If the law only stop at attestation, then you said you need an interpretation, or you need to know who. Then the issue of alcalos, the issue of mayors, the issue of chairmen, the issue of MPs, the issue of opinion leaders, you will say, "Mantame warna attesto." Then you need, let's go, and the law is not very clear. The law is very clear.
No, attestation.
Attestation. No, I mean.
You admitted it's not clear.
No, authority. I mean, if the law said only attestation.
No, it didn't say.
Oh, you don't understand. I said, people are saying it is not clear. I said it's not correct. It's only the law will say the law is not clear. If the law had only stopped at attestation, then people will say it is not clear. Then MPs will say, I can issue
attestation. What else has it mentioned?
Let me finish.
Yeah?
Let me finish.
Passport?
No. Oh.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. If these people are talking, you don't ask them.
No, I just want to be sure that I understand what you are saying.
I don't know. You know, I said, let me start again.
You said, I got it, not start. Go ahead. You said the law is very clear. If it had stopped only at attestation, then you can say it's not clear.
Allow me to finish.
Then go ahead.
If the law has stopped only at attestation, then we will say the law is not clear. Because MP will claim that they should also give attestation. The JP will claim the same thing. The mayor and others will claim the same thing. But the law was very clear. It stated attestation by village alcalo or district chief. It stopped. That is the full stop of the law. It has highlighted all those. So anybody, if you are not an alcalo or you are not a chief, district chief, the law have not empowered you to give attestation.
So there's no lacuna.
Oh, let me come.
No, stop.
Let me come.
No,
let me come. Let me come.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me come. Anybody. The IEC said they claims that they are using good judgment on Section 127. Good in the event that the law does not exist. That's what they said. But here the law exists. It is very clear. The law said X, Y, Z, and Z. And in interpreting a law or challenging the constitutional review of a law, what they need to look at is what was the intention of the drafters at the time, that is Parliament, when they were enacting the law. Didn't they know that there is a mayor in Banjul, but there is no chief and there is no alcalo? These are the things what we ask ourselves.
Then you were there.
Listen to him.
You were in the parliament.
No, listen. Okay.
Here I am talking about people
Go ahead.
who have sound mind and very sensible. The law will look at the time when they were enacted law.
Put it as when we were.
When you go to the constitutional court, they will look at what was the intention of the lawmakers.
What was their intention?
At the time, their intention was only to curtail it to only alcalo and chief.
And Banjulians?
Wait, I'm coming. At the time,
and what did
they knew that Banjul there was no alcalo and district chief. And the law is clear. Anybody the mayor issued an attestation to acquire a voter's card is illegal.
So therefore,
what
did the law say about attestation in Banjul?
How is it illegal?
It's not. There is no. The law.
So Banjul should have no attestation.
Yes. Because
what happened to those who doesn't have passport?
No, let me come in.
Banjul, according to you,
let me come in. You see, Banjul, he talks about something when he was somebody. He said, people are expected to acquire voters card, birth certificate, or antenatal cards. It's right. In the Gambia, when everything was one, it was in Banjul. When there was only one hospital in the Gambia, it was in Banjul. When there were only one clinic, it was in Banjul. When there was in registration of death and birth, it was in Banjul. Any sensible person responsible parliamentarian in parliament, and that's what they did. They knew that Banjul, everybody, whosoever is born in Banjul, it's just being a step. You will be registered. You will have birth certificate. When there were no birth certificate in the entire Central River region, there was no birth certificate office in the entire URR. It was in Banjul. And then the law is very clear also. Born or resident, the mayor cannot get people from Badibu, as Dodou Jah was saying. You refuse to allow him to finish his statement. When he started building of his case, my friend was happy. But when he came in there, he started interjecting. It's clear, the law is saying, for you to attest to me, I must be born or a resident of the village. Somebody born and resident in Weningara, born and resident in Kotu, transporting them, taking them to Banjul, because the mayor want to contest an election, attesting them, that is criminal. It's against the law. And in fact, there is no law. If the IEC, legally, morally, ethically, the mayor cannot issue an attestation to people to acquire voters card. She can attest to people to acquire ID card or voters. I have no problem with that.
So the law has no problem or you have no problem? No, not I have. It should be the law. The law has no problem or you have no problem.
Listen, you see, I said you are, you need to, you see, I said you are partisan, you asked me to withdraw it, but you are partisan. Why you UDP?
You better allow me.
Let me finish.
Now.
Let me finish. You know why I said that? Mayor herself is an elected representative by a party people on partisan ticket. And people going to acquire voters card, they come from various political parties, including her. All those parties are rival parties to her own party.
But she said,
no, let me finish.
No, she said, let me be fair with her.
No.
She said here that I will not give attestation to people based on their political leanings. I will make good judgment of my discretion and issue it to bona fide people who are Gambians and are resident or born in Banjul.
Thank you very much.
That's what she put in
Thank
her
you very
defense.
much. Lamin Cham.
In her defense.
Lamin Cham.
That's in her defense.
Thank you very much. Lamin Cham.
Yeah.
I will not take any sensible other political party apart from UDP will not take her word to the bank. Listen,
well, the UDP can say that.
No, let me comment.
Can say that.
Allow me to finish.
Allow me to finish. Of Maimuna Ba or for any other kind.
Maimuna Ba. No, allow me to finish. Let me tell you. See.
No, I'm asking you what they can also think of.
Oh, let me tell you. Here we are talking about law.
Okay.
We are not talking about your personal sentiment.
But
what the law said. The law is saying an alcalo and a chief, they are apolitical.
Well, supposedly.
Oh, I am not talking about the. I said that's what the law said.
Yes, they should be.
They are apolitical.
Yeah, they should be.
So now, a Banjulian, for a football player, to go to a football match, he is the captain of the team, and he is the referee. While they are playing, he is playing. He is the captain. He is inside, and he is the referee. That is nonsense.
It will rig the match.
Let me comment. Let me comment. You see. When the IC, if they were to use a sound judgment and a good judgment, what they could have done was to go to Banjul to say they are going to for the Chief Justice to appoint a magistrate.
Which is not in the law.
Which is not in the law.
Which is not in the law.
That's what I'm saying. What they said.
In the good constitution,
no,
what the bad one that you enacted is still operating.
The IEC said they were they are performing a good judgment. If they are to perform a good judgment, what they could have done was to do that.
Let's allow the sleeping dog
say that
to
the Imam Ratib and the Bishop of Banjul they are. No, let me comment.
Okay.
No, Lamin Cham. You see,
I
don't. Lamin Cham.
I'm hearing you.
I don't.
You are saying if they actually meant good judgment.
I don't want to.
If they actually meant good judgment, they could have opted for the Chief
If you are
Justice.
quoting me,
then
it's as good as not inviting me.
No.
Let me finish. Under 2 minutes, I'll finish.
Okay.
I said
before you come, this is
me.
I'll come first.
IEC said
direct to me.
No.
Yes.
No, you are last.
IEC said they are using good judgment.
Yes.
A good judgment here is somebody to acquire a voter's card. The lawmakers at the time, they said they cannot vest that right to an elected person because the person is going to be biased, the person is going to be political. That's what the lawmakers think at the time, because they knew that the mayor of Banjul is elected. It's apolitical.
It was happening there before.
It's a political person. They said it's not a good judgment.
During your government, it was happening there.
It is not a good judgment to empower a elected official to attest to people from different political party to acquire a voter card to go and choose their representative. That is part. It's against the law. Another one. The law is saying born or resident of Banjul. That's also another. And I think anybody issued attestation from Banjul, they will risk losing their voter's card by the revising court based on this. If I were to do a good judgment,
keep quiet.
A good judgment I could have accepted from the IEC was to appoint a magistrate or to say Banjulians. We don't want to appoint a magistrate. The magistrate of citizen of Banjul. Or what we are going to do is there are two religions in Banjul: the Imam Ratib and the Bishop. Now we are going to appoint these two people to be. No, I'm just telling you, if good judgment, when they do that, because people belongs to two faiths in Banjul, then everybody would have confidence in that good judgment. But this good judgment, it is nowhere. It is not a good judgment. On the issue, yes, on the issue of the alcalos and the chief, until the law changes, they are a political and they have represent a symbol of authority and tradition in their communities.
Who appointed them?
They are appointed by the government.
Is the government not a stakeholder?
No, let me come in. No, let me come in. They are appointed based on non-partisan because they are not. Oh, listen.
Listen to them. Listen to him.
We are not emotional here. I said here. He belongs to a party. You belong to a party. But no, let me come in. Oh, let me come in.
Why this man? This man.
I have listened.
Why you tell them political? Okay, 30 seconds.
You had enough time.
Okay, 30 seconds. Why we said they are political?
Yeah.
Because they have not gone to election and campaign on a partisan line. Because everybody knows everybody belongs to a political party.
Yeah, that's true.
That is, let's not be emotional here.
Exactly.
Because of that, the lawmakers vest them with that authority.
So,
because of the mayor is
the mayor should not, and it's not allowed by law.
It's illegal.
Correct. And it's a
the law is very clear. Only ignorance will say the law is not clear.
You have addressed both sides. Finally, we are going to get IEC, and I want you to sit down and IEC explain this. We put all this in terms.
I just have to say something.
IEC is coming. And I mean, Omar.
Yes.
What do you think of the mayor?
Mr. Cham, wait.
Very quickly. That's
no, Mr. You're going to say it very quickly.
I can go. I want to go.
No.
Today.
The IEC is coming.
Mr. Cham, today.
And I want you to listen.
Mr. Cham, today, I think you are not fair to us sitting together.
Mr. Cham, let me say this.
Yes, Omar.
You see,
you are not fair with us today.
Mr. Honorable, let me be very honest with you. You see, if you continue to talk this way, you will bring chaos in this country, because the information that you are giving here is not tangible, and it is going far. People are absorbing this information, and they can go by this information when this information is not reliable.
You cannot write it.
Listen, let me say this. Let me say this.
Correct.
Let me say this.
Correct.
Let me say this.
It's based on law.
It's baseless.
If you don't know the law,
it is very.
No, let him quote the law.
Let me say this.
Let him quote the law. I quote the law.
Let me say this. I'm quoting the law.
Okay, go ahead.
He will quote it.
Okay? The law is very clear, Mr. Cham.
Correct.
Eligible Gambians are entitled to obtain voters' card.
Based on what?
Based on these two areas.
Which two?
Either provide one of these 5 documents as listed. I'm coming. And again, the person must have 18 years. This is very clear and above. This is very clear. Common sense will tell you, if the person does not have 18 years, the person is not eligible to have voters' card.
The same law
So
said you
no,
go to court.
Listen.
The
So
law.
you have had your say.
The law said you go to court.
Why do you find it difficult?
No.
Why do you find it difficult
No.
to keep quiet?
That's where I want to come in. The law is saying you are not. Listen, let me say.
I don't know why you find it difficult to keep quiet.
Exactly. The law is very clear. Mr. Cham, I am the one responsible for issuing voters' card. But the law is dictating me that the people coming, if they are not age 18, they are not entitled to obtain voters' card. In the first place, why do I have to issue them voters' card? In the first place, when they don't have age 18.
Checks and balances.
This
You
is
cannot be a
common
judge
sense. So listen.
and a jury. You cannot be a judge and a jury. Checks and balances.
This is common sense.
You go to the judiciary.
No, listen.
It's only Jah and Omar who are getting here.
No, Mr. Cham, I will not agree. I've been sitting. No, I will not agree because the time you. I am here. No, wait. I have to address that. You are not fair with me. No, today you are not fair with me. I spent the least time talking here. Siri has spent virtually half of the program talking, and he's always interjecting when people are talking. You should put him through. Put him in his place, or we will put him.
I was in Parliament for 10 years. I know the law. If I've seen people trading at a dangerous route, it's my responsibility to bring them on board.
You know the law, and you are the people who put us in this mess.
Listen, people want to listen to one after
the other. You know the law, and you put us.
People want to listen to one after the other. They cannot make sense when you are interjecting one another. Omar, continue.
Very well, Mr. Cham. There is the starting point. It's a violation of the law. If I am there to give voters card to people who are underage, I already violated the law. Because the law is directed you not to issue that voters card to individuals who are not age 18. That's a violation of the law if you do so. And that is exactly what we are experiencing. This is an open fact. It is not about going further to investigate. Certain individuals, you have a look of them, you know that this person doesn't actually have age 18. Open secret, you agree to that. That there are people who are registered, who are given voters card, they are not age 18, and you are asking them to go to the revising court. When from the start, you should stop those individuals from acquiring that document. That is the starting point. The IEC, I mean.
There's a mechanism.
That is the starting point.
Exactly.
Secondly,
mayor, that's the mayor, and then we go.
That's why I'm coming. The issue of this mayor.
Go there.
You talk about irresponsible MPs. When this law was enacted, you were in parliament, you contributed, you participated. I'm coming.
Listen.
I didn't use that word.
Okay.
No.
But listen to him.
No, he said.
You said good thinking. You said good thinking.
No, he said. I said.
You said good thinking people.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, go ahead.
I said the MPs at the time they knew there was a mayor in Banjul, but they knew that the sitting is political, and then that is why government. That's why the MPs came up with a mechanism of law. If you are not dissatisfied, you go to the revising court.
Responsible. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it would be nice.
No, go ahead, Omar. Don't go back. Omar, go ahead. The mayor. You are addressing the mayor. Mayor, go ahead. You are addressing the mayor. We have only very little because IEC is coming.
It is very simple, Mr. Cham. Seedy NJIE was among those who participated, contributed, and enacted that law that we are experiencing today.
Correct, and I'm proud.
And they know that there is a lacuna. He was very aware that there is this issue happening in Banjul. It's a natural law. They believe in that. That is why in the previous, the mayor was given attestation, attestation to individuals who are without these documents. This has been happening. The mayor is also relying on that to say in the previous government, the mayors were given or issuing attestation for people to obtain their voting card. You knew well that there is this lacuna and you never tried to fix that.
There is no lacuna.
Of course there's a lacuna.
Okay, it's clear now.
There is a lacuna.
Listen
you know
to him.
very
Listen
well there is
to him.
no alkali in Banjul.
You have made your point.
There is no alkali in Banjul. There is no chief in Banjul. So who are you mandating to issue attestation? Or are you denying people who are without these documents, birth certificate, passport, or ID card to be without voting card?
No, he's assuming that.
No, he asked me a question.
We said
every citizen of Banjul must have a birth certificate.
He's not asking Seedy. He's going ahead. Go ahead.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Birth certificate. For me, I make my point very clear.
Go ahead and make your point.
I make my point very clear that right from the start, I am against the issue of this attestation. Because I know it's going to bring chaos in this country.
Yeah.
And so many factors are involved in this. So for that being the case, the National Assembly I belong to a committee that was going around to ensure that the public is consulted. Stakeholders are consulted. The Human Rights Commission, the CSOs, etc. They are consulted. Political parties. It was clearly spelled out in that gathering. The mayor did indicate that she will be issuing attestation. We were accompanied by IEC and the Ministry of Justice.
Why did National Assembly? Why you didn't amend that? Why
listen
didn't amend
to
that?
me. It's
not a law.
Seedy, keep quiet now.
That one is illegal.
So nobody raised any objection when the mayor made that.
Exactly. Let me make this clear. Ministry of Justice were there to clarify any
legal problem.
challenges. Okay, IEC was equally there to clarify anything coming from their domain. This was actually happening, and the mayor makes it very clear that she will be issuing attestation. They never objected. Let me say this.
You should have told the mayor she cannot do that.
Finally, let me tell you this.
Finally now.
And again, you will realize that in that process, obviously, we were expecting IEC to come with a bill and amendment before this registration or this election. This has never happened. You don't call me any bill that has legal.
If I was there,
listen,
I was going to tell the
you made
mayor.
this law. You are saying when I was there.
If I was
when you enacted this law,
I mean,
you were there.
When the mayor came to you, if I was there,
okay,
I was going to tell the mayor that you cannot attest. You are not in the law.
Very clear. Now it's finished.
Applicable as
it's
it
now
is.
Okay, finally, Omar.
Let me ask you this question.
Okay,
but I don't want you to ask him
enacting that law.
Yes, sir.
Knowing fully
Yes,
that
sir.
there is no alkali in Banjul,
Yes, sir.
there is no chief in Banjul.
Yes, sir.
What was your position, or what do you think of, and who do you think of will be giving attestation to those without this document?
Okay, on the 1 second. You see, when I was in Parliament and when they were amending it, I and my colleagues and the Ministry of Justice at the time, we thought it is only a responsible person would vest the responsibility of attesting somebody to acquire a voter card to a player, himself or herself. And we knew that the city of Banjul, the mayor, is a player, is a political, it's an elected officer. As such, the person cannot be vested the right to be issuing voters card. And secondly, we said that every Banjulian
should have assuming that every Banjulian.
No, I'm responding to you.
Okay, it's finished.
We said every Banjulian
should have a voter's card. Should have a registered.
I'm not a birth certificate.
That's
what we are happening. Dodou Jah Wanako. Not assume. Dodou Jah Wanako. Rahim Malik lo ange attest mo hamne hamu street bin deka hamu the number of the street. That one is illegal.
I ask this question. You are not giving me the correct answer. Let me say this. Let me say this. We expect all Gambians to obtain either birth certificate, ID, passport, and whatever. This we expect from all Gambians. So don't tell me we are expecting Banjulians to obtain this birth certificate.
According to the law.
In the absence of that is where the issue of attestation comes into play.
According to you, Omar.
According to the law.
According to you, Omar, on this Banjul thing.
This government.
No, see this.
You see,
you are out.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
No, you have exhausted.
This government is founded on the basis of respect for due process and rule of law.
Okay, Omar.
And it is illegal for anybody to give attestation to Gambian to acquire voters card when you are not an alcalo or chief as expressly.
Now when Omar, your point is clear. You are saying that as far as the Banjul issue is concerned, listen.
Even the Gambia Bar Association, they are raising concern that the mayor cannot give an attestation.
You think
Gambia Bar Association?
You know how many issues the Bar Association have raised that you've not talked about?
Now let's come to I've got your point. Let's come to Komma.
Mr. Cham,
my friend, I'm saying I'm giving you the floor. You are okay.
No, Mr. Cham,
You have to follow the conversation. Don't interject. I am giving you the floor. You are
Mr. Cham.
You see him interrupt.
Mr. Cham, let me say this.
Now this matter is clear. We are going to have IEC. Omar, your point is clear. No, Omar, your point is clear. Very briefly, I want you to address. The only thing you have to address is the Banjul mayor thing, and we are going to have the IEC. So please, what is the position? What is your position on the Banjul mayor?
Our position is very clear.
Yes.
I think at times you have this gelatin nature that you should stop.
Exactly.
No interjection. Just tell us what do you think the mayor.
What we are saying here,
yes.
These laws that they are talking about, there is a lacuna, of course.
Very well.
I don't know what we fail to understand about the lacuna is it is quite on the attestation when it comes to the side of Banjul. So you cannot discriminate Gambians who are resident in Banjul. You want to tell me Banjul is its own republic in the Gambia? It is not. If people in Basse can have right to attestation, people in Banjul also have right. Because you don't expect people in Mansakongo there is a health center. We expect everybody born in that area to be registered. They have health posts in all other areas in this country.
Not all.
Many areas. If I say all, even in Banjul, it is located in one area. It's not every street in Banjul that has the hospital. So when I say all areas, no. Don't interrupt. Don't.
Because
if it is interruption, that is the game. I do it very well.
Address the issue.
So I don't like that.
Address the mayor.
The issue here is, you say there is no lacuna. There is a lacuna. The mayor have been doing that in Banjul. Why now? This is the issue. When you are serving in the parliament, mayors preceding before Rohilo were issuing attestations. There was no complaint. Why in this instance there will be an issue? Like you've said,
you see,
this statement of being apolitical.
I'm not in the talk.
This statement of being
this statement. Nga dem sa pay ñew pay ñu ne la yeen xalé yi loi bi nga ñew do wax ni lañ ko daan defé that doesn't make it right.
But what you are saying today, you were not saying the same thing.
Omar, listen to go. Omar, is his turn. Omar, is this man's turn.
Talking about the law.
When you were enacting that law, you leave it open.
This is the turn of Komma.
In the absence of this document, who is going to issue attestation?
Omar, it's the turn of Komma, and we are finally finished.
Omar,
we are talking to Komma. It's not any of you. You have no right.
Allow Komma to learn.
What Komma stopped was that the practice was going on when you and people in the APRC.
Yes.
You didn't make any complaint.
Can I respond?
Why is it an issue today? No, he's talking.
Okay, let me note it down.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I said this idea of confusing people have to stop. This has been happening. Like the gentleman from the CSO highlighted here. The lacuna is, if a law is quite on specifics, everybody tend to interpret in your own way. Now, Banjul is part of the Gambia. The criteria that are given, attestation, birth certificate, passport, ID card. So if you want to qualify all the other regions for the 3, but Banjul will qualify all the regions for the 4, but Banjul will always only be qualified for 3, but the attestation part will be left out. We are not fair. And let us remember one thing. The Constitution supersedes all these acts you're talking about. The Constitution has given everybody the acquired right to vote when you attain the age of 18. That is an entrenched right for every 18-year-old Gambian, regardless of where you come from. And if people who are born in Banjul, one way or the other, have lost their documents, their fathers are of late, they need somebody to attest that they are born in Banjul or resident in Banjul, who should be there to give them that attestation. That is a lacuna. They don't have an alcalde, they don't have a CFO, but they have a mayor. And previously, if the law is quite on that, that's why the mayors are taking that onus on them to give people attestations. One way or the other, people's functions might be apolitical, but we know, like you said it, everybody has a political party that is close to your heart. And we know that here the people in positions of authority tend to abuse that right. They saw it openly, they belong to the incumbent on the opposition. The issues here at hand are very critical. Those lawmakers who were there, the CSO guy have said it, we didn't expect the new Gambia we yearning for. That city was against. That was ushered in by people of this country during a struggle in 2016. We expect the document that perpetuated that embodied that bad era would not be the one with us still here. That Constitution 97 is the issue, because it was tailored suit for an individual to perpetuate that guy and train the guy. Now we're talking about issues that were enacted when he was an honorable member. We are not thinking ahead. Now we have issues that are coming up. Morally, he is not obliged to comment. Why? If he has a moral obligation to the Gambian people, this lacuna would have been addressed. And the issue of people 18 and over, I said it here initially, that we're talking about attestation, but the creed in the manner in which the attestation should be given. And what are the laws governing that from the Alcalo side? You stated the Yakumba issue here. Yakumba is a bona fide member of the Dipakunda area. She is born there. She's been there. Their family have been there for 300 years. If she has something there, she is in her vicinity making a round. But people occupying high positions in the political parties, I don't mind everybody going around to check here and there. But sitting there, taking part in the process of giving attestation to people, like my colleague have stated here, he was from Basse. Going to Basse, taking an attestation from Basse, coming here because you are resident here, that attestation will support your subsequent attestation from the guy in Dipakunda. That is the right process. But now that is not being done. Attestations are given to people directly, whether they are born in Kuntauru, or in Nyamina Kudang, or in Basse, in Dipakunda, on everywhere. These are the issues, and the CSO guy is very right. The ills of yesterday, if they are not taken care of, will always sow seeds of violence and problem and chaos in the future. In the sense that this is an electoral process. Everybody will come. Registration is another process. When there is time for election, you cannot expect me to be sitting at a polling center. And I saw somebody, everybody there will know this guy is not even 16. You want me to allow that guy to vote and decide the future of this country? We know all where these tactics are coming from. If everybody is sure of yourself, let the incumbent take the lead.
My closing remark.
And the people who are supporting the president should take the lead and tell people that we are the people who should protect the constitution as it's enshrined in the constitution. You swore by the Quran to protect. You should not be a party to break that constitution, the rule and the laws of this country. Because giving attestation to people under 18 is empowering illegality. Is promoting illegality in this country. So to support that system, we all know what is happening in this country. I'm pleading on everybody, every political party, to take that stance, including the people serving the incumbents party. So please make sure that non-citizens are not registered. Minors are not registered. And let the electoral process be free, because this is where election starts. The cycle starts with the registration. If this one is reached, everything will be reached, and that is the way they are planning it. We know what is happening. And secondly, the Rohilo issue, I will close it. Let us not forget, Banjul was Banjul, but many, I will tell you, Mandinari now have more Banjulians than people living in Banjul. 3/4 of the families in Banjul have relocated to Mandinari. If you go to Mandinari, how many compounds are there from Banjul? Now, if they want to register in Banjul, and they are resident in Mandinari, don't they have the right to come from Mandinari and go to Banjul as when I want to register, I go to Nyamina or Jara to register? They have the right. So let us not take that acquired right from people. Let us know one thing here. The complaint is not going to be about where you register. Like Jah stated, when you are born in Basse, resident in Serekunda, you can go and take an attestation, have a supporting attestation from Latikunda and get registered because you are a Gambian. The problem is whether you are Gambian or not, that is the issue. But whether you are registered in Basse or here, that is not an issue. The people who are even giving attestations in Banjul, when they are going to be contested, is their nationality that is not that is going to be contested.
Now,
not whether they are giving attestation or not.
Question, let me respond.
You cannot respond anything here. You've given your time. If you respond,
we are wrapping up because we wanted the IEC.
I just want to make something very clear here.
We are wrapping up because the IEC. We promised that we will bring the IEC spokesperson, Mr. Khan, on the line, but apparently we could not reach him. His telephone is ringing and he's not picking up. We suppose, have been listening to all what we have been saying and was ready to come up with an answer to all the issues we raised here. But unfortunately, our technicians have been trying him over the last 10-15 minutes, but his phone kept ringing and he's not picking. And he's in NBR at the moment. We hope before we close we could get him. Otherwise, we will put this, of course, and other issues to him next week, perhaps. But Mr. Njie, finally, as the representative of the CSO, you've had all these politicians, except perhaps Jah. All of them seems partisan. Can you tell me now, what do you make of this going forward? Because all these people have highlighted lapses, mainly on the side of the IEC. That they're not clear on this thing, they're clear on this thing. The staff are either not well trained on IT, or they are seen or suspected to show partisanship when they are registering. Al-Kalolu also have been accused of favoring one side or the other. And the Al-Kalolu and Sefos must realize that they could be called to revising codes, to authenticate or to answer to attestations that are objected to. The mayor of Banjul, it continues to be argued, is he allowed or not allowed to give attestations, being an elected representative and an interest group for that matter. So these are the issues we had wanted to put to the IEC, which we discussed here. But apparently, even after they promised, we couldn't reach them on the line. Basically, just to
sum it up, I mean, I just want to make something very clear. It is sad in 21st century Gambia, where we are supposed to move towards consolidating our democratic gains, when people express their opinions that are against certain groups or their interests, they term you as belonging to a political party or they term you as opposition. This has been a norm in this country and it still continues. People that belong to civil society organizations, non-partisan, are labeled as belonging to political parties or opposition specifically because they express an opinion that is contrary to the views of the others. This is not supposed to be the case in the New Gambia. Just moving to the point of all the issues that are raised here by my panelists here, it is sad, like I said earlier on, and this has to be repeated, that going to 2021 elections, what we expected was that we were going to have new laws that are going to be responsible for the conduct of the 2021 elections. We did not expect to be going back to the same problems that we experienced in the past when it comes to especially the issue of acquiring voters' card, specifically attestation. People have complained about this. I never ever thought that 2021 this will still be there. When the first day I heard that people can issue alcalos can issue attestation or safe orders, I was perplexed. Like, really? This is still happening? And it seems like the IEC itself, as the institution responsible for the conduct of elections in this country, is confused about this whole thing. I made mention that when I raised this issue to an IEC official that mayor in Banjul has issued an attestation and people are complaining. He was surprised that that has happened. And then I said, now what happens next? Is the mayor legally qualified or authorized to issue attestation? He was like, well, unless they go to the IEC office in Banjul. Do you understand? This is a problem. These are some of the things that need to be addressed before going to elections. And then somebody in the panel, I don't want to mention them, said that CSO should not be here to say that there could be post-election violence, there could be problems.
No, just mention my name.
Okay, finally,
these are, you see, like I said earlier on, the free, fair, and transparent nature of any election, any democratic elections, I mean democratic election, is determined by 3 stages: pre, during, and post-elections. The pre-election period is very fundamental. This is where the registration comes in. This is where the issue of nomination comes in. This is where the issue of campaign comes in. Are the right environments, from the right environment, getting to the laws, getting to the, everything is, are the laws clearly stated when it comes to the issue of registration? This is very fundamental for the free, fair, and transparent nature of elections. Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier on, if the registration process did not go well, people will wait, revising courts will come. Do we have faith in the revising court? If the revising court comes, maybe the issues cannot be addressed. You know where people are going to wait? After elections. A winner is declared, whether it's incumbent or opposition, there'll be contestation. The process was not followed. You remember the 2016 political impasse. What the Ajame said when he rejected the results, you know what he said? He said, I was wondering where the 300,000 voters went. And he said 25,000 of my voters were denied the right to vote. They were on the queue.
The spokesperson is here.
That's the process. At the end of the day, we will have problem when the elections are done. It is not the voting itself. It's the pre-election. It's the registration. And we must be able to address these issues if we want to have free, fair, and transparent elections, if we want to avoid a political mayhem in this country post-2021 elections.
And I pray God forbid. And it's on that non-partisan note that we're going to end the brunch this week.
No, Cham.
I thanked
that one is partisan and we have issues. He asked me he raised questions to me, I should respond.
You were the first who said you would leave the panel
nobody asked me
earlier than expected.
You appeal on me not to go. He raised a question and he raised partisan.
He didn't answer my question. The questions I raised, he didn't answer.
Can I give
No, he didn't.
Okay, now everybody has 2 minutes.
Exactly.
To go. Okay.
Yes, I just want to clarify on 2 issues. Honorable Omar Ceesay said for him we should take attestation out. I want to give examples, the need and importance of it. You cannot take it out without putting in a system that will enable people to acquire documents to prove their citizenship. One, my own mother, there is somebody she bailed at Brusubi police station. Her ID, it's there. When it came to registration, she went, they said, unless the case is seen through, she cannot get her ID back. She has a photocopy. Went to the registration center. They are not accepting photocopies. She must go to the alkali. She went to the alkali. She shared the same primary school with the alkali. So hadn't been there is no attestation, then my mother will not vote in this election. If you need a bad certificate, like you got it and you lost it, you must go to the alkali to attest that you were born or resident there, so that you will be able to go and acquire a birth certificate. I am somebody who supported when IEC wanted to take attestation out. I objected. I said for us here, we could easily access major hospitals, you know, or health posts to get it. But look in the provinces, you have those that they will need to go to miles away, sometimes even with a donkey cart to find a place where...
So the idea about attestation is not bad. It's subjection
it's not
to
bad.
abuse. That's the problem.
No, if you want to take it out, put in a system that will enable people to have other documents. If you go to acquiring our passports, our ID cards, even foreign nationals are paying money and they're issuing it to them.
Yes.
It's not only the attestation. Let us be open-minded. If you take it out, you will deprive a lot of Gambians from voting and they will be stateless. And that will not empower any country. It's not going to. The last example I want to give, my brother's wife, she's fair in complexion, joins the queue in order to register as a voter. The councillor of Dipakunda happens to interrogate her and said, excuse me, yes, where are you from? He said, what do you mean by that? He says, where do you reside here in Dipakunda? Who's your husband? He said, my husband is so and so and so. From which compound? Jakunda. Okay. Because they know that the residents of Jakunda are from Dipakunda. Yes. But why do you pick somebody based on color? You happen to question them. But when they are dark in complexion, they could be Gambians. These are issues that we should walk above. What makes you a Gambian and you look low upon somebody else based on color or accent, etc. We must know what the law says, who makes you a Gambian. It is very, very key that we are sidelining people. So the issue of attestation is very important.
Promoting people to come from other countries to come and register. You are telling me what we
You are not
do.
allowed to talk, my brother. Seriously.
Yes,
I think if I come to Seedy, I think what Njai said is where the problem is. I mean, before coming to the registration center, the identities and origins of the claimants should have been well established by the alcalo or by immigration officer long before they come there. Now it is the diligence duties of these people that will determine what constitute a problem at registration center.
Is Seedy NJIE and his group?
2 minutes. You have to be serious, my friend.
I'm very serious. Seedy NJIE and his group. I have a reason for that.
2 minutes.
I will come and tell him.
Thank you very much. On a final note, let me just say this thing. You know, I want to enlighten my two UDP members.
Fatou issue addressed
GDC and UDP.
Just put your case.
What I'm saying, you see, Lamin,
you are talking to the audience.
Lamin, you see, that is the reason why you have checks and balances. That's the reason why you have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. That is why there is a provision in the Election Act, and that if you have any of these issues, it's not for IEC, for your party to sort it out there. Go to an independent organ that is go to the court. Due process. Secondly, he talks about unconstitutionality. He said it's unconstitutional. I want to tell him, you know, we need to read basic law. Section 7 of the 1997 Constitution states that laws of the Gambia are the Constitution, among others, and the Act of the National Assembly, and so on and so forth. And also the same Constitution saying that any act that the National Assembly enacted is part of the law. But if you think is in excess of their powers, ultra vires, you go to the court to declare that process null and void. That's the reason why, whether here or another platform, when I shared platform with then some of the UDP officials, they claim that the Public Order Act, because it was challenged by Dabo, is unconstitutional. I said no, it's constitutional. And they said Dabo is the constitutional expert in this country. I said basic law man lumaham ken du ko gene. They went to the Supreme Court, they went to the Court of ECOWAS Court, the Public Order Act of the Gambia is constitutional. So you see, let us not be sentimental, because these are checks and balances. If you don't accept with any process, if you don't agree, go to the court. And on final note, you cannot have UDP councillors, UDP elected members of parliament, UDP senior officials going around across the country. They are causing pandemonium. Going to the queue. No, let me finish. Going to the queue. Because people of their color or accent, and you think they don't belong to one tribe, and telling them you are not a Gambian, is in the 21st century, you cannot have it. To respond to my brother, you see, whether civil society, what I am saying, most all the civil society, they belongs to political parties. But when you go to the field, don't manifest that. But my problem, most of them, him and his colleagues, dafa baña dos ma tour, def ma ragal, waye man dana ko tudda, ñom they are showing their true color. So when you go there, when you bring sentiment, they don't listen to you. So what I am saying, all lu ñu wax ni yépp lo mo fa nekka. When I was in Parliament, I'm proud I was in Parliament, and bo moy loi bi. Bu mayo bi ñëwé into Parliament, man suma fa nekkon, billahi wallahi taala dama ko don wal mayo, li moy loi bi, you either go to court or nga ñëw pour ñu ameen ko.
You didn't do that when the mayor of Banjul was APRC?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me ask the question. Thank you, thank you. For me, when I was in APRC, I swear to God, and you know, the current issue Banjulian are raising with the mayor of Banjul, it was not like this. I don't hear those things. And man musuma hamne sa. No, me come. No, let me come in. Man,
but you know it was happening.
Man, billahi, I never knew that mayor the Fatou had attestation for voters card.
Yeah,
man, no, let me come in.
The opposition did not.
No, let me come in. No, let me come in. No, because they gumako. I swear to God. No, what I am saying, no, at the time, there was this in the law. There was these 5 elders in the law. Maybe not a degumako. Man, luma wa moine. Luma bi lumwa. Lola ñu wara def. Why mayor bi tek na Gambia Bar Association and some legal. Ñu ngay wax ne mayor bi amul legal standing pour joxe attestation. Lolu loi bi dafa tudd alkalo ak safe. Mayor Rohi Malik lo du safe to alkalo. Mayor bi mu ne moom soo ñëwee su la xoolee nga doylu ko pour moom ndax Gambian nga o ndax nga eti mu jox la su la xoolee doyluloo ko. That is the reason why law bi génne ko fa, because he is a political.
I think the mayor is better than your alkali.
Very good.
Because at least he is not giving it to minors.
Omar, 2 minutes.
At least he is not giving it to minors.
Let me say I am surprised that the gentleman before me.
You see, I don't want you to make it.
No. We are responding issues.
I want you to make
we are responding issues.
From the onset, he made it.
And he should be quoted.
He made it personal.
No, he should be quoted. Of course, he should be quoted. What I am saying, him saying he is never at any time aware of mayor's giving attestation. That's what he did indicate.
Wow,
so I am saying, when this law was tabled before Parliament, he knew very well that in Banjul there is no alkali, there is no chief, and somebody must be vested that right to issue attestation.
No.
And in any way, you never try to address that system. Secondly, of course, we expect all Gambians to have birth certificate. This is a basic document that we expect all Gambians to have. Now, the way in which we can program this system, everywhere, every district or every constituency, one can say there is a health center where one can walk in to get a birth certificate. That is obvious. And the system must be programmed in such a way that if one acquired that birth certificate, for one reason or the other, that get lost or whatever, then one can simply go back there and get this birth certificate. The person will just click the system and your name will appear, that will print it out, then you will have your birth certificate. That can be easily done. Especially this is an election year. If suppose this is a law, the issue of attestation is rolled out, then obviously the way people are going to the alkalis to get this attestation will be the same way people will be going to the health centers to get this birth certificate in question.
Finally, after listening to all the inadequacies that people have been talking about of the process, what is the way forward in 1 minute?
Yes, the way forward is the IEC must be very careful in what they are doing. And they must ensure that the right people are given the voting card. As he mentioned, during, and post-election is very important. And now we are starting the process of election. So IEC is a key stakeholder in this. And in any way, if they try to manipulate or if they are influenced by the government, that will bring chaos in this country. The way NPP people are talking, especially my brother here, that can easily bring chaos in this country. Because you are making people to believe things that does not exist.
Okay.
Finally, what is the way forward?
Finally, the way forward, after listening to all the gentlemen here in the studio, not 2 minutes, don't try to be quoting me. This is the problem I have with you all the time. Because since we started this program, you always try to tell me 2 minutes.
That's what we
I'll come, no worries. 2 minutes. I can do it even in 1 minute. After listening to all these problems. The problem is, I want people to always remember one thing. We should put country first, patriotism. In as much as we all want to form governments on our own due to parties and issues, we should put Gambia first. We cannot sell our sovereignty to people. We are complaining about sovereignty. But people here in the incumbent especially, you know, all this problem is caused by few issues. That people in position of authority at the moment are saying things that are creating cloud of doubt over this registration process. If a presidential advisor somebody close to the president, including the president himself, is alluding to the fact that yes, we'll go and pick people from Senegal who can come here, are married to people.
The president have never said that.
No.
That's a serious allegation against the passing of the president.
And register in this
Withdraw
country.
that. Withdraw that statement. The president have never said that.
How are you so that will happen? And the process in those days, I think I told you, and I will repeat once again, I don't think you have the moral obligation, because you are part of the parliament that enacted and removed. They remove one thing from this attestation. In those days when attestations are done, 5 elderly people from the community will be seated. Will be seated to make sure that the guy who is attested is a Gambian.
It's different.
It was enacted and changed in 2015.
It looks like we have a...
Gentlemen, it was amended. I know what I'm talking about.
That was not the case.
It was the case.
Hello, gentlemen. It looks like we now have a breakthrough. We now have the public relations, the director of communications, Khan of the IEC, who we will put this. Mr. Khan, welcome to the brunch.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. Over the last 2 hours, we have been discussing issues that were raised during this first week of registration.
Okay.
I will itemize them for you.
The mic is at the bottom. The mic is at the bottom.
All right.
And one of the issues is that the area of alleged minor registration in Nyamina, in CRR, I'm sure this issue have been put to you. Our panelists here and people watching want to know what is the position of the IEC on that.
Okay. I would like to say that the IEC,
yes,
I think really regrets this. It's unfortunate, and it even condemns such actions. Because, of course, when we talk about voter registration, it is about those people, those Gambians who are eligible to be registered as voters. Of course, these are adults, adult Gambians. But then this is these are the people who we expect to be registered, and the people who should be participating in elections in the Gambia, and not people who are not 18 or who will not be 18 by December 4th.
So what is going to happen in this case when you IEC yourself and really people of right thinking minds believe that these are minors and they have already been registered? What will happen?
Yes, I think this is a process. The voter registration exercise is a process. We just started the voter registration, which would progress till the 11th of July, and after which the process will continue. Then we will have the display exercise. This will be the period when the provisional list of voters will be displayed in communities, in villages, in Bantabas, so that the list can be scrutinized by the public. And then after which people who have objections, and also not only that, people who may also have appeals may lodge complaints or may lodge their appeals with the revising court. So I would say this is just the beginning of the process, and it will continue with other aspects of the process as well.
What do you make of allegations that some members of your registration team actually allegedly saw partisanship in dealing with claimants?
Well, this is news to me. So far, we've been gathering reports from the regions and from the teams. But so far, I think the conduct of our teams have been generally very good. So I wonder reports of being partisan. Of course, in IEC, I think one of the basic requirements to be hired by the IEC is that the person must be non-partisan. The person must be apolitical. So we don't expect to hire any staff or any personnel who is partisan, who is involved in party politics.
We have two cases in point here. The issue of Banjul Mayor attestating, since he is an elected party and maybe interested in re-election or belonging to a party, and she is doing the attestation. And also in Brikama, a lady, supposedly, allegedly well known to be NPP sympathizer, is senior registration officer there. Are in these things, what is the position of IEC on these things?
I would say the law is very clear on who attests for people, which, according to the notice issued by the IEC, which is also as per law, that the Alkalulu, that's the head of the village, or the chief, who is the head of the district, may attest for people who doesn't have the other documents, which includes the identity card, which of course should be the valid one, that's the one currently in force, or the passport, the Gambian passport, or a birth certificate. But in the absence of this, the Alkalulu or the Sefulu may attest for people to be registered. But then it happens that Banjul, being the seat of government, Banjul being the capital city of Gambia, doesn't have an Alkalulu, nor does it have a Sefu or a chief. So I think then we would say by default, the office of the mayor would be in charge, and of course would assume the responsibility. And in this case, we would say by default, the mayor can assume those rules as long as they are silent in the laws. And for the sake of natural justice, people who may be born in Banjul and are qualified to be registered must not be disenfranchised, and it's their right to be registered. And in case they do not have any of the other documents, then I think it is only right that they are attested to by the office of the mayor or mayoress, so that their rights can be upheld, so that they can be registered as voters.
Now, there's this issue of your personnel allegedly not very au fait with the information technology equipments they are handling, such as breakdown of machines, printing errors, typographical errors. I mean, all these things, according to observers, really contribute to the slow pace of registration process. What do you make of this?
I think I really disagree that the process is very slow. I think for me, the process being slow is even a plus in terms of quality and in terms of effective delivery. Because people must be vetted, documents must be vetted to make sure that they are the right documents, and people should be appropriately registered. So I think in doing that, there is no need to rush. The teams are advised to take all their time to input accordingly and to register people accordingly. And of course, you know, this is a BVR system. That's the biometric voter registration system, in which some key features are very important, such as the face recognition, that's capturing of the face, the picture, and also the fingerprint. These are key aspects of the process. Of course, I know sometimes the machine has takes time to capture the right photograph. Of course, the software is programmed that the machine would take time, you know, to automatically snap the voter when it has taken the right picture, or a picture with a very high variable, such as from 80, 90 onwards, such that pictures that the software deems are not very much clear or are not very much good would not be snapshot by the software. So maybe this may be viewed as slow by the public, but I think I would say that this is in fact a plus, because it improves the quality of the voter registration system, so that the right photographs are taken, and also high variables are acquired in terms of the fingerprints. And also when it comes to the errors, the human errors, I think maybe this would be an issue of concern, as we advise the staff to take their time to spell people's names, surnames, or biodata have to be appropriately typed or spelled. Maybe we may have to improve upon this.
Finally, the issue of the diaspora voting has surfaced again. Now there are suggestions that you don't need a constitutional amendment to provide for a constituency for them, which had been some of your arguments, and of course the lack of funds, of course. But now the suggestion is that you can register people in the diaspora in the constituency they were born?
Well, the issue of the diaspora, I think, is before the appropriate authority, it's before the National Assembly, and also the IEC is engaged in the process alongside the Ministry of Justice. So I think with regard to this, we're waiting for the appropriate directive or the appropriate laws or regulations needed to proceed with the diaspora registration. And just that I want to clarify that the IEC is ever ready to conduct diaspora registration once the appropriate measures or the appropriate issues are in place, so that it can be done in not in all the countries, maybe just in the beginning it may be done in some few countries. As you know, diaspora is of course very expensive, and considering that the IEC may not be able to register Gambians, all over. But then for a start, I think it may be feasible to register Gambians in some of the countries in which the Gambians have a higher level of concentration.
Thank you very much, Pa Makan, if I right, the Director of Communications at the Independent Electoral Commission, for taking time from your busy schedule in the NBR, I guess, and for responding to these questions. Thank you very much once again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
There he goes. And of course, it's on that note that we are going to end this edition of the brunch. We will be back as the registration
Mr. Cham,
continues.
I
wonder why my panelists have
Mr. Cham, everybody here was on the finishing side.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
No, Mr. Cham. Everybody was on the finishing side, and you didn't allow us to finish.
dañoo wax ne sonn nañu noppi suñ buggee ñu dem challenge ko si court si boobu seen diggante la ak IEC parce que man ñoom liñ wax moom lay wax nit ñi du suma wax de waxi luwaa bi ak li IEC wax la ñu ñëw si waxi attestation yi bari na wax torop man Rohey maa dégloo ma ne attestation suma conscience lay use pour jaay ko ma ne du ma jël foori na jox ko attestation waaye suma conscience lay use kooku ëllëg bu taxaw nekk président ni Gambia loolu lay wax nit ñi defuma ko tey man di koor ko mbamu leen te maa bañ ba tëdd si suuf du ma jël foori na di ko jox attestation muy dem ëllëg mu ñëw taxaw si suma kanam mu xool ma benn ne kii maa ko joxoon attestation mu ñëw taxaw ay élection nekk fi mayor maa bu nekk fi député maa bu nekk fi councilor maa bu nekk président kon man fu ma jëm where is my conscience du ma ko def tey du ma ko def ëllëg attestation nag bu ma la xoolee dëgg ba xam ne yow doy nga ma fi nga juddoo mbaa fi nga dëkk dinaa la ko jox waaye bu ma la xoolee ba gis ne doyloo ma dëgg xam naa ne loolu réew mi du ma la ko jox kum naxari nag nga kalaame IEC dëkk bi dafa am loi jarul wax benn bari dem leen koot waaye kenn amul barke tey di ma foori na ma jox ko kayite dëkk bi du ma ko def tey du ma ko def ëllëg kon again maa ngi wax ne jërë ngeen jëf registration bi door na nañ leen ko def ak dal ñu bari nag dañoo kaalis xanaa ku leen wax ne ku waxu fi nag ñoo jël si attestation Rohey maa dégloo maa UDP la sànni gàtta ay waay ndeysaan li ma xam bu ko ñeneen xamoon kan moo leen wax ne ku ñëw rek suma office UDP nga sànni gàtta da Rohey maa dégloo nga sànni gàtta waaye jarul caalit élection jotagut na woon rek fa woon kon nañ la ñu ànd ak dal ànd ak tey te Banjul ñu xam ne nekkut na lu nekk rek coow lu jóg rek ñun waa Banjul di lañ war a wax ñun we are very noble ñun ñoo nekk si capital bi ñoo war a set examples seetuma attestation ndax UDP nga ndax NPP nga ndax APRC nga ndax PDOIS nga ndax GDC nga wallahi yàlla xam na ne yonente bi seedeel na ma ko ñu suma yoon nekku ci loolu naa la xool rek bugguma rek koo xam ne dangaa nekk foori la waaye loolu nag kum doy dara du la doy maa ne joxuma foori la attestation maa ko wax kenn mënu ci dara nag man mii loo maa ko wax suñ ma yóbboo ko man kenn maa faa nekk taxaw ñoom ñu taxaw di ree te naan xamuñ si dara di bu leen waxee ñu wax na xotteeku laa wax du ma ko def dégg naa ñuy wax ne ñun duñ ñëw si Rohima Diglo jël si attestation soo jël si attestation nga toog kon doo sànni karta mooy Rohima Diglo man duma la fekki suma kër loolu bisab bi rek ak al imam ñoo am barke boobu noonu ba cëral leen loolu xanaa sax waaye fekkee la ba sa kër ngokki keke ñëw jox la attestation man du la ji toogal sa kër ga sedda Rohima Diglo moo la fekk si ak attestation am ma ne dañ leen di waxante dëgg nee naa leen su wax jotee te lii da waxut loo gor parce que nit ñaa la fa teg lu nekk dañ dee dégg nag waaye du lu nekk ngaa tontu lu nekk ngaa dégg waaye du lu nekk ngaa tontu waaye dama ne maa ngi wax ñi juddoo Banjul ak ñi dëkk Banjul ku leen kale si yoon bi laa la wax lii police moo koy si de ñuy leen di wax naan dañoo ooyi police bokkul si lii sooyi IEC la IEC ñoo moom seen soo teg seen ay luwa ku leen kal ngeen kal ko laa leen wax bu leen faale li ngeen di ut mooy seen ID card si dox leen danka dem uti seen ID card si su fekkee ne ñoo moom Banjul wallahi kër la suma baay am Banjul su dee noonu lañ koo jëlee kon kaay la ñu compté su ko defee ñu seedoo Banjul dinañ am ko ëppale Banjul kon maa leen di wax jërë ngeen jëf asalaamaaleykum wa rahmatullah.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
For all your pastry, bakery, and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings, and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European, and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe, and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.